Let's go. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day so far. And I am happy and definitely grateful that you decided to come and spend some time with us today here in the Confident Speaking community. I do not take your time for granted. I don't take your presence for granted. And I try as often as possible to express my gratitude because I absolutely appreciate the fact that you choose to come and hang out with us because there's so many other things you could be doing with your time. And I don't take it for granted again. And I just hope that everyone has a fantastic time today in the space as we have this conversation get going. We're going to do some challenges this afternoon once we get through the conversation, which we're going to discuss some quick tips for speakers in spaces on X. And I know that's something that many of you have already been speaking in spaces on X for quite some time now. But there are perspectives that we can keep in mind. And remember, when I discuss things, certain topics, it isn't always about the information itself. Sometimes it's more about the mindset. And when we have a certain mindset, it changes our approach to the way that we engage and the way that we take certain actions when we're living our lives and interacting with people. So as much as these tips are going to be there for you to think about and consider, because I dare not tell you that this is the way you have to conduct yourself in the space, or that this is absolutely the only way for you to conduct yourself in a space. But this is just based on my observations after about 3 years now of engaging, watching, learning, practicing, experiencing different types of engagement that goes on in spaces. And I want us to kind of talk about that and get you thinking about this as you go forward on your journey. But before we delve into the topic of discussion today, I want to say hello to Mama B. How are you, Mama B?
I am fantastic, Tim Brown. How is everyone in this space today? I'm looking forward to this space today. I'm going to tell you what happened to me, Tim. I don't know what I'm going to do with you, but I was getting ready to come here, to come to my meeting place in the at the kitchen table here, and just thinking about something that I'm working on for myself, right? And a thought came through like, oh yeah, I wonder what Tim is talking about today, because it has come to a place where seems like your topics are what I'm working on or dealing or something that's in my heart, right? And so I'm in my kitchen here now, getting myself together. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't even remember whether I shared the space like I usually do. And I couldn't remember that well, but I'm gonna share it today anyway, because I do share it on the day off. And so I'm trying to think about what to write, when I tweet out. And so of course I wrote, if this is a go-to space for if you're hosting rooms, or if you're a speaker in a space, and then I tweeted out and I finished, and I'm thinking, oh, I need to find out what the topic is about today. And then I click on your thing again, and the topic is about speaking in spaces. And I'm thinking, God is funny. I mean, we have a funny God this is today. Usually, maybe it's this weaving of community that we have. What is happening here in our space is that we've spent so much time together, and we are becoming one. We're being woven. I'm talking about everybody in the space, not just you, Tim. Everybody in the space, I think we are getting deeper connections or something. Something's going on, but I'm here for it. Thank you, Tim.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mama B. And there's a saying that goes, well, there's a saying that says, birds of a feather flock together. And when you spend enough time around people, you begin to think alike. And if you've ever had a best friend in high school or at some point in time, or married for an extended period, you know what they're going to say before they say it. And when I think about my wife and I may be thinking, and I say, you know what, I wouldn't mind some pizza. And she'd say, well, I was thinking the same thing. And that's just what happens when you get connected. And in the Christian world, they consider that to be one spirit. we share the same spirit. So you're going to have similar thoughts, and your thought processes are going to be in line with one another. And that's what happens. It's like osmosis, where you just connect, spending time with people. And that's why it's important that you be mindful who you choose to spend your time with, because eventually I believe that whoever is strongest in their belief is going to influence the relationship and the type of interactions that you have. But ultimately, you're going to pour from one another and become one in the same person if you spend enough time around people. So be very careful. If you don't agree with something about someone's personality or their behavior, don't try to make excuses for them because they're nice to you, because eventually the nastiness or whatever it is that you don't appreciate about them that they demonstrate with other people is going to rub off on you on some level. So just be very careful. Great point, Mama B. Billo. So let's welcome Billo. Billo is co-hosting with us today for the first time. Billo, how are you, sir?
Uh, I'm doing well, Mr. Tim. Thank you for adding me as a co-host. I really appreciate that. And also, Mama B, I'm really glad to be here, to be co-hosting together with you. That is very good. And I'm excited for that. For those who are new in this group, or for those who don't know me well, my name is Kwal James, but I'm using the word, my name is Bilo. So on Twitter or here, I'm using Bilo Kwal. So that is my name. And then, so this is my first time to be a co-host. So, and I can say that I've really learned a lot since I started joining this group last year. So it's a good step to be up as a co-host. So it's a learning, it's a way of learning, and I'm very excited for that. So thank you, Tim.
Absolutely. Thank you, Billo. And I appreciate you accepting the offer to do it, because sometimes we have to be pushed a little bit. We have in our minds what we may want to do, what we feel like we may be able to do, but we aren't always comfortable enough to take that step to actually do it. So I want you all to not be afraid when there are people in your life that are willing to give you that extra push, because we may need that from time to time to remind us that you have the ability to do it. And they may see things we don't see, that we don't recognize about ourselves. So pay attention again to the things people say, what they recognize about you, whether it's good or bad, something you need to change or something you need to refine and actually amplify in your life, because people are watching you. They're observing and they recognize what it is you're doing. They recognize what you have to offer. And when it's natural to you and just a part of who you are, it's easy for it to become a blind spot and you not realize that you have the value that you truly do have. So thank you again, Billo. And I love how people get so, and this, like Mama B, think about Mama B, how she's just going along doing what she does, being Mama B, sharing her thoughts and perspectives. But you see how people become endeared to you when you least expect it. And that's because you're being genuine about who you are and just being yourself. And when you're a kind, considerate, compassionate, caring person that wants to serve others, people recognize that and they're drawn to it. And it costs us nothing. It requires no money out of our pocket to be kind, courteous, and considerate to people, and to be willing to share to help others. Because when you do, other people will be there for you when you least expect it. And this just reminded me how on our wedding day, when my wife and I got married, and just thinking about just the outpouring, how people came together from our church, the way that I knew they cared about us, but it was just different after we got home from the wedding. And I sat there for a few minutes and cried, because I was overwhelmed at how much love, how much effort, how much time people put into helping make it our wedding day special. And you just never know what people are willing to do, but it begins with us having the mindset, the character that demonstrates the compassion, caring, consideration, and willingness to serve others first. Don't worry about what you're going to get. Just give, because it will be given back to you at some point in time when you least expect it, and not necessarily the way that you expected it or the way that you gave it to begin with. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And what I'll do is I want to see if Shari, do you want to share your testimony now, or do you want to do it after we have the conversation? I'll give you the choice.
Hi Tim. I'm okay with sharing now because I don't know if I'll be able to stay on very long.
Got it. Okay. Because I know you have the kiddies that you've got to tend to. So what we're going to do before we get into the topic, Shari has been coming to the space for a few months now. I think 4 months at this point, and she's had some experiences, and she wanted to share some things with the group based on her experience that may be inspiring to some. Well, I know it will be, because everyone was at the same point that she was when she began. So I won't get too much into it. And actually, I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the mic, Shari. So don't worry, I won't spoil it because I don't know what it is to spoil. So Shari, go ahead and share with everyone the testimony you want to share.
Thank you, Tim. I'm like, wait, what is he talking about? He knows the secret. But thank you so much, Tim. Mama B and our new co-host, Bello. I think I've heard you spoken before, but it's very nice to see you in the co-host seat. So welcome, and keep going, keep going. Hi everyone in the space. It's so lovely to be here. And Tim, I can't believe it's been six long, perfect, great months. And thank you for allowing me to share this testimony. I literally sent you that DM yesterday while I was in the emergency room. I suffer from high blood pressure since having my first son. And yesterday I actually went to sleep on Thursday with pain and numbness on the right side of my body. And yesterday it got worse. So I went to the emergency room thinking that something was wrong. And while I was there, I was like, oh my gosh, I need my community to know what's going on with me and how things have been since I joined this community. So like I said, but no worries, I'm fine. I had to do a CT scan. My labs came back normal, so I'm fine. I just have to be monitored now. So I'm doing fine. My mother-in-law is here with me today with helping with the boys. So I'll get a chance to just relax. So don't worry, I'm fine. But I just wanted to let everyone know in on this little secret. So for the past, let's say 16 months, I have been on maternity leave. I left my job as a preschool teacher 2 months before my son was born because that job almost killed me. And I made a vow to myself that I wasn't going back to that job. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was like, I'm not going back. I don't care what it takes. I spoke to my husband and I was like, he supported me all the way. And I said to him the other day before I joined this space, I was like, I feel like there's something inside my soul trying to reach out into the world, but I don't know what it is. And it was scaring me because I felt like I had to burp and I couldn't burp anything up. It wasn't coming out. And I remember I joined your space after seeing you in another space. And I was like, this man is I have to learn something from him. I don't know what it is, but I followed you. The next Saturday I came in and I shared on the space, and my heart was racing so quickly. And here I met Lazolia, Mama B, Donica, Ingrid. And one of the first thing I said was that I introduced myself and I said, I've been a volunteer for the past 3 years with a Black mom community here in Toronto where I live. And I give my time freely and willingly to help elevate this community. And that's something I'm very passionate about. And lo and behold, here we are 6 months after joining this space and sharing that. I just accepted a job offer where I'm going to be paid to help Black mothers and children thrive and flourish in the whole community of, in the whole province of Ontario. So thanks to this community, it gave me the strength to find my voice and to be able to articulate. If I was saying this a couple months ago, I would be crying. But here I am, I know. And Tim, like in the interview, I was there, like I was speaking in the interview, and I'm like, okay, I need to slow down, take a deep breath, and share. And don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm saying this to myself. And I was just so strong. And listen, this process was it's almost 2 months. It's an almost 2 months process. And 1.5 hours or so after I left the interview, the hiring manager called me. She said, "We were so impressed with you that we need to move to the next step. It's going to take a while for us to hire you, but we already know we need you." And Lord knows, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm standing in my truth and it feels so, so amazing. And I just want to say, thank you to everyone who believes in me. Thank you to Tim. Thank you to Mama B, to Lazolia, to Ingrid, to Brenda, to Donica, to AI. Like so many people in this community have been so instrumental in the Shari that you are hearing now. Like my mindset shift from 6 months ago, the way like I relate to God is so different than how I was months ago. And I'm so, so grateful. I'm so, so grateful for this community. And thank you, everyone. I listen to you guys, even if I don't make it to the space, I listen on the replay, and I cherish all the words. And words cannot express how I'm feeling, but I know that I'm here to support. And it's surreal right now talking about this. It's really surreal, but yeah, I'm gonna land there. But once again, thank you so much. And Mama B, I know you're like, what? She didn't tell me. But I gave you the heads up. I'm gonna give my testimony when I spoke to you last night. And thank you so much for the prayers you and Sprinkle. Yeah, thank you, Tim.
Wow, wow, wow. So before I say anything, I saw Mama B put her hand up. So I'm going to defer for Mama B. Go ahead, Mama B.
Shari, you know me so well because I am sitting here and I'm thinking, how come I didn't know this? How come I was not the first one to find out? Now I'm hearing it with all the people. So you know me so well, but no worries. We did that with somebody else too, in our little group in the back, the boomers and the gang. The boomer and the gang is our little chat. So Shari knows me. So Shari, my God, I was just about to cry with your testimony. I'm not even gonna go on and on because I know Tim wants to say something and we can move on. But man, this is just so touching. It just goes to show that community is being woven. We are weaving community. I'm so happy to hear. So happy. Can't wait to get in the back channel and hear all about it. I'm all here for it. So thank you for sharing, Shari. And I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better. And go ahead, Tim. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mama B. And I'm super excited for you, Shari. First of all, happy that it's just a matter of monitoring and that you're physically okay. That's okay. Because health, what good is wealth without health? That's where it all begins, is being healthy. So I hope that clears up as quickly as possible, where you don't even have to be monitored anymore very soon. But super congratulations, 15, 25, 100 times for you. And it just goes to show everyone that when we serve, this kind of touches on what I was saying before Shari shared the testimony about us being willing to give to others, our willingness to share and to serve. and it will be returned to you. And you don't know when, you don't necessarily know how, but you know that it will. And that's something that I will tell you with as an absolute. You will be blessed when you serve and when you have a heart to give and serve other people. And everyone that's been here for a while know that I don't typically give prescriptive ideas. I share perspectives. I share ideas and thoughts for you to consider. But that's one of the things that I will tell you is an absolute. It's very prescriptive. Serve others unconditionally, and you will be blessed in return at some point in some form or fashion. So always keep that in mind, because remember, I've spoken about generosity recently and the importance and the value of being generous. But Shari, it's your commitment. You've done the work, you put in the time. And as we said, the mindset, part of my goal is to help make sure that people develop the mindset to do more, to be better, to give, to serve, and to believe in themselves. Because you can get knowledge from anywhere. You can get information, bullet points, and tips. You can go on the internet and search almost anything that we've discussed. There are some things I share that are based on my personal experience that you can't find online because it's relevant to me specifically in what I've seen and experienced. But when you think about the high level concepts, they're all over the place. But what really makes the difference is when we get to come into a community like this, where we're sharing those experiences to help other people know that it's possible, that you can accomplish, that you can achieve, that in spite of the challenges or struggles you may experience in life, there's still light at the end of the tunnel. But what we have to do in the midst of the struggle is to stay focused on where we're trying to go. Stay focused on where we're trying to go and do the work in the meantime. Do what you can because the time is going to pass either way, no matter what you do. So you can choose to let the time pass as you moan and complain, or you can let the time pass as you're taking steps to move forward, doing what you have the ability to actually do. And you're going to find out that there's a tremendous difference in the outcome 6 months down the road when you spend time complaining and moaning about it versus taking action to be farther along than you were. So, Shari, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. And I just look forward to hearing even more stories of how you're changing lives. And did everyone hear what she said? She has been offered a position to help facilitate healing, growth, development for single mothers across the entire province of Ontario. The entire province. So think about that. And it's because she believed in herself enough, and having people to help you understand the value that you have. Sometimes that's what we need. Don't be ashamed if you aren't comfortable at this point. Your time will come. So keep hanging out with us. Keep taking chances, because one of the things that we want you to do is to learn to get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's one of our pillars, is we focus on getting comfortable being uncomfortable, being willing to take those risks, putting yourself in those uncomfortable positions where you do challenges that we do, where you don't know what the topic is going to be, and you're willing to put yourself out there in front of 40, 50, 60 people that are watching and listening to you. As you're nervous, your hands are sweaty, your arms are shaking, but you do it anyway. And that's when you begin to see the results, because you learn how to manage those emotions so that when you're in the interview where they are looking for someone that can represent them to an entire province like Ontario or wherever you may live, you're prepared for it. And there's no situation, no interaction that you don't feel like you're prepared for, because you are able to recall. Because remember, as I say quite often, is that when we put in the reps and put in the time, we don't have to remember everything specifically. But if we focus on the task at hand and not allow fear to consume our thought process, our brain will be able to recall everything that you've learned, everything that you've practiced, and apply it in the moment when it's time to shine. That's how it works. And that's prescriptive. Don't focus on the fear, focus on the task at hand, but you have to do the work so that your mind knows what the process is. just like riding a bike, just like driving a car. Eventually, you no longer have to think about it and you're no longer afraid of the process because you've done it enough times and your brain and body just know what to do. And the same thing with your communication and moving forward. So, Shari, I really appreciate you sharing that with everyone. And there are others. There are going to be some more that will be shared. And I encourage people to share those experiences so that everyone else can begin to realize that I didn't pay Shari to say that. Well, I know you know I didn't pay Shari. But at the end of the day, those stories inspire people because just like you once were afraid to even see the word speaker under your name, there are others who feel the same. So to see you sitting in the co-host seat below, that's inspiring for someone that has seen you join the space for months and months and maybe speak a couple of times and now you're co-hosting. That's inspiring. So we get to change lives. And that's what I want us to understand. It doesn't have to be something profound. It doesn't have to be something that's earth-shattering that you do. It's the simple things that can have the biggest impact. And I often say, think about a 10-story building that's made out of bricks. It's one brick at a time that gets put in its proper place that becomes this tremendous structure that people respect and admire and that has a firm, solid foundation. So keep showing up, keep doing the work because that's where the glory happens is when you do the work. And just to know that we're here to support you every step of the way. Don't worry about making mistakes in this space. Don't worry about not having all the answers. Our goal is to help you figure out how to find the answers, how to help you figure out how to not make those same mistakes in the future. That's why we're here. So don't be afraid. Everyone is welcome to speak. Everyone is encouraged to speak because that's why we're here, so that you can begin doing the work. So come up. And just a quick reminder before I go to Mama B, we close at 1:30. So we close the space at 1:30. So I don't want you to don't wait until the end because I know sometimes we feel like we have a lot of time and I want us to get into the habit of utilizing the time that we have while it's there because there may be a time where you wait to the end and you miss your opportunity. You think you have time because we never know what may happen. I mean, Alabama could start playing at 1:00 and I may have to leave, So you just never know what happens, even though the goal is 1:30. So I just want us to be mindful. And even though the Alabama thing was silly, I have figured out how to manage that because they actually play at 12 next week. But I'll still be here. But just to know, sometimes things change. So we don't want to wait until the end thinking we have more time because circumstances change. So get involved, get engaged, and come up here and participate so that you can do the work, get the reps in. Mama B, go ahead. And then we'll go to Josh, and then we'll jump to the conversation.
Sorry, it's just going to be a quick one. I meant to acknowledge you below. It's a pleasure to co-host with you and get to know you more and just chill over there and just relax. You'll do well. And Shari, I'm glad to hear that those 4 Ps worked during your interview. And also, I want to say that, yes, we will be ending at 1:30 because, Tim gets really parched talking and pouring into us so much. So while we're doing this, maybe, we could buy him some coffee because, we need to pour into our man over here, our leader. And Shari, just to end here, I was here just for the people in the room. I was here that first day that Shari shared. And and then she talked about how she is an organizer co-founder of a group of moms here in Ontario. And it turned out that we are only an hour away from each other. And so Shari and I have actually met. And so we met here. And this about what she's doing. She just got, hired for whatever she's doing in the province. That's huge to even think about that I met her. Like I met her here. So talk about making connections. Tim is always talking about make connections, people, make connections, do that. Make connections. It is unbelievable what's going on. We are on fire. So thank you, Tim. Oh, I just want to say some of the housekeeping. Please share the space. Thank you for sharing the space in the hallways, and invite your people to know that we are here. And tweetables. Tweet anything that somebody says that strikes you and resonates with you. Tweet it out, and that way we could have visibility for the space. Thank you, Tim.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mama B. And just a quick reminder, based on what Mama B said about meeting Shari in person, I'm constantly reminding everyone, for those that will say in real life that they have to do things in real life as though being in these spaces isn't real life. Shari is yet another example. The connection that she and Mama B have made to meet in person is real life. So be mindful how you conduct yourself in these spaces, because people are watching. People are watching what you do, and they're listening to the things that you say. And if you aren't mindful and careful, you could potentially lose an opportunity that could be life-changing for generations to come. We don't conceive or perceive the possibilities that are out there, because we get stuck in this limited frame of mind and thought process of what's possible. But you just never know. So be mindful, because this is just as real, being in these spaces and your interactions, as you getting up in the morning and driving to a job. Because I'm sure some of you have virtual meetings with your job when you're working from home at times. And it's no different than being on this space. This is real life, people. And I encourage you to begin treating it that way, so that the relationships that you may be able to build and develop on these spaces, they can open doors that you never thought were possible. Because you don't know who's listening to you in these spaces. You can click on profiles and read the little snippets they put, but you don't know what's really going on behind that profile. There are people that have jumped on this space, on this platform, and they just joined last month, and they could be a multimillionaire deciding to change their strategy of engagement and to try and identify people, because they're hearing all this great stuff about people hanging out in the confident speaking community, and they want to come see for themselves and try to identify someone that can help facilitate conversations and trainings for the single mothers in Ontario. You never know. This is real life, people. So I want everyone to get that in their heads. This is very real. So Josh, we'll go to you, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the discussion about some of the quick tips. How are you, Josh?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Josh. This is my first time speaking in a space. Hello, Mr. Tim Brown. Hello, Mama B. And hello, it is nice to meet you. You are doing an excellent job co-hosting. I just wanted to come in and say hello and introduce myself to the family. This has been a wonderful space so far. And Shari, I just want to offer you some flowers, if that's okay. Congratulations on the new path that you're on. And I just wanted to say hello, Tim, unless you had any further questions that I could comment on. I just wanted to come hang out and speak, because I'm very nervous right now, and just wanted to say hello.
Well, thank you very much for that, Josh, and welcome to the space, and congratulations for speaking for the first time in the space. That shows a lot of courage for you to do that, even though you're nervous. And everyone is just as simple as that. And you see people laughing. For those of you who don't know Josh, this isn't his first time speaking in a space, but it can be just as simple as that. Sometimes you just come up and say hello to everyone, introduce yourself, and we encourage progress, not perfection. And at the end of the day, we just want you to take steps to move forward. Whatever your first step is or your next step, we just want you to take it. We don't care how big or how small. If requesting to be a speaker and not saying a word is your first step, we're okay with that. That's why we don't call on people to speak unless they raise their hand, because we realize we give the invitation for you to come up and take a first step to simply see the word speaker under your name. And you may not feel this way, but some people are terrified about the idea of the word speaker being under their name, because they know that they're just a phone tap away from them being in front of everyone and everyone hearing them be nervous. So don't worry about that. We're here for you every step of the way. So thank you for that, Josh. I really appreciate you coming, joining, and sharing that and being a part of what we're doing. So what I want to do is jump into this really quickly as far as some quick tips for speakers and spaces on X. And I want you to know I did post at the top for those of you who want to see them and just kind of read along or take a look at them. And I won't read all of them because it's a fairly extensive list. I don't plan to read all of them, but just kind of give you some an overview and some insights about what we're discussing and why we're doing this. And I want to begin with the fact that in order to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. And in order to be able to be a good host of spaces or meetings or whatever you are hosting or facilitating, you have to be a good participant. And I want us to have the mindset that as we approach our participation in spaces, we approach it from the perspective that this has an impact on the people who are listening, and my presence and participation has an impact on the people hosting the space as well, because they have goals that they're trying to accomplish. There are things that they're trying to do as the host of a space. So when you participate, I want you to begin being mindful, not just of what you want to say and how special your thoughts may be, because what you have to share is going to be valuable. I don't deny that. And I know that. And I want you to believe in the value that you bring when you speak in spaces. But I also want you to not look at it just simply about how you can impress the people listening to the words that you're going to share. Think about it from a holistic perspective. How does my presence affect the host? How does my presence and my engagement affect the people listening to me? And I'll tell you a quick scenario. When I was a mortgage broker, we used to train our loan officers and our processors. Those processors were the people who took the loan packages and prepared them to send to the banks, to the underwriters in the bank. And we trained them to think like an underwriter. Think like an underwriter, because the underwriter is the person that says, yes or no, we're going to give you the money for this loan for your client. And by us teaching them to think like an underwriter, what we ended up doing was getting little stickers from the banks. They would literally give us these little red stickers that we put on our files, so that when our files got submitted to the bank, when they saw that sticker, our files went to the top of the pile, because they knew that when they looked at our files, there wasn't going to be a whole lot of back and forth, wasting time for them, because we taught our people to think like an underwriter, so that it made it easy for them and made them want to work with us. They appreciated working with us because of the approach that we had and the mindset that we wanted to make it as simple for them as possible when they touched the work that we put in front of them. So I want you to have the same mindset when you begin to participate and speak in spaces. Make it easy, make it enjoyable for the host to see you show up. Make it enjoyable for the listeners to see you on the stage getting ready to speak, because they know that there's going to be a certain approach that you have, a certain way that you present yourself that's enjoyable and pleasant. And not everyone cares about that. And there literally was someone in the space earlier today, and the profile had some things that were pretty wild, and I didn't invite them to speak or give them the microphone based on what the profile said, but they started giving me thumbs down and little emojis in the background. So, and that doesn't make it a pleasant experience for me. So why would I want someone like that to be a part of what we're doing, or expose you to that, for them to get on the mic and say something crazy and offend everyone in the space? So be mindful of that. Now, also know that for people, especially someone that's new speaking in spaces, even if you've been around for a little while, there still may be some nerves and emotions when you speak in a space. So it could be helpful having a checklist of sorts, like this document that's here. And I'm open to make some adjustments, to make some changes as we go through this, because I'm going to want to know some of the things that resonate with you, some of the things that you make a part of your experience when you're in spaces and what you may struggle with, because we may be able to help you understand the why behind some of it, since I won't go line by line and read everything. But be mindful of that. And I want you to consider that as you are speaking and participating in spaces, as you adjust the mindset of your interaction and your presence, think about it in stages or in phases. And as you'll see on the document, we have the initial stage where you first join the space. So when you join the space, before you speak, while you're speaking, after you speak, and when you're leaving a space, all of those have different elements that will affect the way you're thinking and affect your thought process on how you're going to interact or engage. And believe it or not, some people are even uncomfortable with just leaving a space. It becomes a whole thought process to figure out, how do I leave this space, because I don't want anyone to be mad that I left. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we don't see in people's minds and hearts, because we don't want to disappoint our friends. We don't want to offend people. So this is just something that may be helpful that you can consider. And remember, this isn't prescriptive. These are just some thoughts and ideas based on my observations, based on things that have worked for me and that I have seen other people do, that I thought, you know what, this could be great and potentially helpful for someone that's new to the platform, or someone that needs this checklist or a bit of a guide to help them settle down because they're going through a process before they begin speaking. So when joining the space, one of the things that you could do is to greet people and briefly introduce yourself in the chat. That's a great way to let people know you're there and to just say hello to everyone, whether it's a lot of people in there or not. You know, you just greet people and you establish your presence in the space. So it's beneficial for you and for the host of the space, because now it creates engagement and it opens the door for more people to know about what's happening in the space. So greet people and briefly introduce yourself in the chat. What is it that you do? What do you offer? What do you hope to learn in the space? And then I would encourage you, listen to understand the environment. Before you begin speaking or try to speak, listen to understand the environment. And when I say that, I want you to think about whether or not it is a topic-based space, a conversation, because some spaces, they just chat. It's just free flowing and they just say whatever's on their mind, and it ebbs and flows however they're feeling in the moment. But you need to understand that. So listen to understand if it's topic-based. Is there a structure to the space? And what is the mood of the space? If everyone is excited and happy, that probably isn't the time or the place to come in and share a sad story. So be mindful of the mood. Or if everyone is feeling a little hurt because they're helping someone through a struggle, that isn't the time coming in making jokes. So we need to be mindful of that. Listen to understand the environment when you're joining a space. And then identify the audience. Who's actually in the audience? Is this a group of professionals? Are they a certain type of professional? A lot of attorneys, or a lot of political pundits, or a lot of medical professionals? What type of people are in there? Are they techies? Is it a support group helping single mothers? Or are they a group of close friends? And the dynamics are going to be different when it's a group of close friends in terms of how they engage in those spaces. But it's a great idea to understand who is in the audience and the types of people that are in the audience. And this is something that I would encourage everyone to be attentive to, especially when you're joining new communities and new groups, because I watched this happen time and time again a couple of years ago, where when the NFT boom was going on and everyone was selling the pictures in JPEGs of, square faces with round eyes, and they were talking about how much money you could make, and community was the word. And I sat back and I observed, and I'm listening and I'm thinking and I'm pondering, because I'm one of those customers that I'd look at cost per ounce when I go to the store. I want to make sure I'm getting value for the money that I spend. So I'm listening, and they're saying community, 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 spending a lot of time bringing everyone together because, we're community, only to watch them that when they build this quote unquote community that 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, once they have the launch party and they sell all the NFTs they want to sell, now the community is gone. We don't need the community anymore. So what happened? I thought we were community. And I just watched a lot of people get swept up into that. So I want you to be mindful. As you join a space, you need to be attentive to those types of details and nuances to understand what kind of group are you getting involved with. And don't let yourself kind of get tricked into buying into something that isn't really about community, but it's about you being a prospect, your sales prospect in some places. So be mindful of that. And then I would say acknowledge your friends with private emojis or in the chat when you join. That's a great way to do that, because what it does is it helps save time when you're speaking. Some people like to go around the room and acknowledge all 15 of their friends when they're in the space. And some environments, that isn't cool, especially when it's an unfamiliar group of people. They don't want to sit there listening to you talk about and shout out the names of people they don't know and may not care about. So acknowledge your friends with private emojis or list them in the chat and say, hey, what's up, Mama B, Josh, Bill O, Shari, Salafa, and acknowledge them in the chat. And what that does is two things. It gives you visibility, because if people are in the space, there are going to be people watching the chat. So they're going to recognize you and they may check your profile. And then it also helps the host, because now you kind of create engagement for the host. So remember, in order to be a good host, you have to be a good participant. And good participants understand the value of helping support the hosts that are leading these spaces or leading the meetings that you're a part of, to show some level of support, even if you don't speak literal words that help move things along. So keep that in mind. And as you do that, and I want everyone to make sure you keep this in mind, don't get upset if people don't respond, because sometimes there are some people who sit there and they stare at the phone the entire time. I find myself looking at faces and pictures when I'm on spaces a lot of times for whatever reason, but not everyone does that. Some people are multitasking where they're out at the store or they're on a walk and they have to pay attention to something else and they're just simply listening to the space in the background. So don't get upset if someone doesn't respond to your private emoji, because they may not have seen it possibly. And one other point to think about is, if you are using an Android phone and you send a private emoji to someone who has an iPhone and they don't follow you and they aren't following you, they will see your emoji, but they won't have the ability to respond back, because it doesn't work that way. Only Android phones, excuse me, there it is, Mama B. But only Android phones have the ability to interact with private emojis without you following one another. So that's just a little note to keep in mind, because people can tend to get their feelings hurt and become offended because they feel like someone doesn't like them or someone is ignoring them. And you'll be surprised at the emotions and the feelings that people have when they come into these spaces. Because as humans, we like to be acknowledged. We like to be recognized and feel appreciated. So if you tell someone hello and send them a smiling emoji or a heart emoji and they don't respond in kind, for some, they may have had a bad day or they've been through a life where they were always overlooked and dismissed. So for them, it's yet another rejection that they have to experience from people that they thought were their friends in their community. So be mindful of that. The little things matter. And before you speak, I want you to make sure that you find a quiet place. And though it may not seem that bad to you when you're outside or when you're in certain environments, the phones tend to amplify on the other end what it is you're hearing on your side. So be mindful of that, because there are a lot of hosts that are trying to produce professional podcasts. They're trying to produce something that they can use for monetization. And if you have a noisy background, it disrupts the flow of what they're doing. And now they have to take time to say, well, I can't hear you. Can you go find a better spot? And now they've got to get back on track. and you want people to be able to hear you. And remember, you want to make it a pleasant experience for the host and the listeners when you show up. So if you have a lot of background noise, you may have one of the most profound statements and comments to make known to man. But if they can't hear you, then they can't benefit from what you have to say. And now everyone is distracted because all they hear is noise and plates clanging in the background or cars driving by because you're in a noisy place. So be mindful of that. And before you speak, write down your talking points. Write down your talking points so that you can understand them. You can get clear. You have to be clear about what you're going to say before you say it so that you have the ability to clearly articulate to everyone else what you're going to say. And I want you to be mindful when you think about your approach to speaking, your style. And this isn't a knock on anyone, this is just a consideration to have in mind so that you can be mindful of the time that it takes to share what you want to say. Consider your pace, the way that you speak, or the pace at which you may typically speak. So if you know that you have a slower pace when you speak, don't try to give too many points. Find one main point that you're really excited about and share that so that you continue to leave that space for everyone else. We want to hear you, but we also want to make sure that we're maintaining a great experience for everyone, for the host and the other listeners. And while some people may not admit it or want to admit it, but every one of us in here has zoned out and we've disconnected and we've stopped listening to people after they speak for so long. We lose interest and it's like, okay, I heard that. It sounds like you're repeating yourself again. So they stop listening. And now it's just a waste of time. And then you make the experience that someone is having less enjoyable. And the next time you show up, they may not listen to you from the beginning because they're anticipating you taking a long time to share things that you're going to say that they may not be interested in because you haven't written your thoughts down to be clear about what it is you want to say and understanding that you may speak at a pace that's going to take a long time to share 3 or 4 points when it may only need to be one. And I'm going to jump down to while speaking. I'm going to jump down to while speaking because there's a couple others in before speaking, and you all can take a look at those and something may stand out to you. But while you're speaking, one of the benefits of, again, speaking to your friends in the chat is that you don't have to do a lot of that when you begin speaking. You know, where some people will take 3 minutes just saying hello to everyone. Think about how you can refine that and simplify that process and not take too long doing that. And don't spend time explaining how concise you're going to be. I've seen that happen a lot where they'll get on the mic and say, well, I'm not going to take a long time. I'm a very concise person and I like to get to the point. And then after it takes them 2 minutes to explain how concise they're going to be, you have to take the mic from them because they aren't as concise as they thought they were. And they spend 5-10 minutes, if you allow them, saying the things and doing what they said they wouldn't do. So be mindful of that. So you don't have to explain to everyone that you're going to be concise. Just be concise. Because if you point it out, they're going to be expecting you to be concise. And when you don't, they're definitely going to zone out and disconnect from what it is you're saying. And you're going to lose the value of that moment that you had someone's attention. I would encourage you to ask permission to pose off-topic comments or questions. If it's a topic-based discussion, especially when they have it in the title, that they're trying to discuss something specific, don't just randomly change the topic of the conversation without making sure that it's okay with the host and the co-host, because they may have something specific that they're trying to accomplish, and they may be working on something or building on something. And if one person goes off topic with a comment or question, what happens is that other people begin doing the same thing. Remember, I need to look and research I'm not going to even use the phrase that I was going to use that people typically say, but people tend to do what they see others do. If one person goes off topic, then other people will go off topic, which goes to another point about trying to avoid some of the random and erratic outbursts that happen in our environment, be mindful of that, because that can be disruptive as well. If something is going on behind the scenes that no one else can see, try to deal with it as quietly as possible and not interject that into the flow of the conversation. Because if you've ever been standing face to face with a group of people and you're talking and everyone is having a great time, and then suddenly a person feels an ant crawl up their leg and they start flailing frantically and jumping around trying to figure out what's on them and trying to kill them, everyone stops. The conversation is completely disrupted. And in many cases, you lose track of where you were and you don't get to finish the thought that you had in mind in that moment. So the same thing happens in spaces if we have random and erratic outbursts based on our environment. So now people are trying to figure out what's wrong, what's going on. It can be distracting. And the last thing about this is I would say for people that, especially if you aren't in the space from the beginning, please try to avoid giving the expert monologues, especially if a space has been open for an hour and a half and you don't know what has been shared. Be mindful of that. Share a perspective, but avoid taking the mic and going down this long spiel and essentially repeating everything that the host or someone else may have already said in the space. It's disruptive because now you're wasting people's time when they've already heard what you shared. And it's a difference when you're trying to just add a little bit of value versus taking over the conversation to essentially hijack the conversation as though you're now the expert in the room that everyone needs to listen to. And we don't want to do that. And we want to share our perspectives, share our experiences, but we don't want to present it as though this is what everybody has to do in order for your life to be great, because that isn't the way it works. I don't even do that as the host. I always tell you, I'm sharing perspectives, things for you to consider. And after you speak, and I'll just say this one, don't be the person that habitually comes into spaces. They'll sit and wait 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then they'll speak and they leave. The speaking step is what I call it, where there's some people who are habitual speaking steppers. They'll come in and want to give the expert monologue, and then they leave and they're off to the next space to do the same thing. And I know that for some, that's their strategy to grow on X. That's part of their strategy to get visibility. But the visibility that you're getting is that you're someone that isn't willing to take time to connect. You're trying to use us. You're trying to steal our time for your benefit, and you have nothing that you want to contribute to us as a whole. And that's part of the reason I would encourage you to find people that you enjoy spending time with so that when you do speak, you don't mind staying to listen, that you want to be a part of what they're doing and make a contribution so that you are able to actually connect with them, so that you're actually able to grow with them. People recognize it when you constantly show up, speak, and step. People see it. They see it. So be mindful of that, and don't put yourself in that position, because that becomes a reputation. And for someone that's hosting, when they know that's all you're going to do, especially if you give that monologue that is repeating something that has already been said, chances are they won't give you the mic. They won't acknowledge your speaker request because they know what they're going to get from you. And it becomes disruptive to what they're trying to do and how they want their community to feel valued in these spaces. And when leaving, and I'll wrap up here with when leaving, is what you can do is send a private emoji or message to the host to let them know that you have to step away. And you could also, which I like to do, and I probably do both of these, is I may send a private message or an emoji, depending on who it is. If it's someone that I know, then I may send that. But when you get connected with people and you know them well enough, you don't have to tell them you need to leave, because they understand that your presence is something that they just simply appreciate and they don't take for granted and hold you hostage, feeling like, well, if you don't stay the entire time, we're no longer friends. when you connect with people, they have that understanding. But sending the private message or emojis to let them know that you have to step away. And I like to send a final thought in the purple pill, the purple bubble, or the trouble, as some people call it, to just say, hey, I enjoyed the conversation. It was a great space. And I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the day. I've got to run, but look forward to the next conversation. And that's a graceful way to leave the space where you've acknowledged everyone, you've said goodbyes, and you've also notified the host that you had to leave. So it isn't a surprise that you left. And if it was, when they don't see you, when they go back through the chat, they're going to see, oh, okay, that's what happened. I knew they disappeared, but you've given an explanation if you feel like you have to give one. So don't feel guilty if you have to leave a space, because life has to continue. You have to prioritize, but that's a way that you can gracefully leave the space without feeling bad about it and still giving some acknowledgement. And also, for those of you that are trying to build and trying to grow, it puts you in front of other people who are going to see the chat. So if they didn't see you while you were in the space, they may see your response in the chat and check your profile. And they may decide that, you know what, I need to see what kind of counseling they provide or what kind of consultation they actually offer. That sounds like something I want to learn more about. So you never know how that may pan out. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up there and just kind of see if some of these stand out to any of you, if any of them are a struggle for you, or if any of them are some that you feel may not be that relevant. And that's fine as well, because keep in mind that some of these may vary from space to space. A lot of them you can definitely take with you to a new space or new group of people, but there are some spaces where it's acceptable, it's expected to do some things that are listed on this particular document. But just keep in mind, and that's why listening to understand and identifying the audience is so valuable, because it helps you understand which of these you may actually want to consider and which of these you may not need to worry about, depending on the space and the people involved. So, Mama B, I see your hand, and then we'll go to Josh, Salafa, Stu, and then Max. And Mama B, before you go, so I just want to remind everyone, here in the space, we focus on the 4 P's because we're about growing and improving. So the 4 P's, our pitch, pace, power, and pause as we speak. So we want you to be mindful of that. So this is an opportunity to practice every time you speak, to become more dynamic in the way that you present what you have to share. We focus on conciseness. So we use a timer where there's 2 minutes. I just push the button and the timer just goes. And at 1 minute, 30 seconds, this little chime goes off. And that means you have about 30 seconds to summarize your thought, to land the plane. And this isn't to deny you an opportunity to shine. This is about teaching you how to understand the concept of time when you're speaking. It teaches us to refine our thoughts, and it teaches us to rely on those talking points that we wrote down so that we can be courteous of other people that may be waiting to speak, or the timing of what the host may be trying to do in a space or in a meeting or wherever you may be, where people can't afford to have you taking a lot of time. So this is part of the intentional behavior that we have in this space for us to improve our ability to be confident and effective communicators. So with that said, I'll go to you, Mama B, and then we'll go to Josh, Salafa, Stu, and then Max.
Oh my gosh, Tim, you are bringing the fire today with these tips and strategies. So powerful, and I just want to say that the private emojis, and this is because I went through the same thing. Maybe some people probably don't know how to activate the private emojis. I was seeing private emojis before I understood what they were, and thinking that maybe it's a glitch. Like, why am I getting all of this in the back end, right? And so I learned that they were private emojis. And so when you long press on a profile picture, and then you'll see them come up, and then you'll get the the option whether to to send the private emoji. So that's how that works. And the next one, I'm trying not to say I'm going to be concise, because when you said don't spend time explaining how concise you're going to be, I thought, oh my gosh, that is what I'm struggling with. To answer your question, I struggle with setting up stuff, always feeling that I have to set up things. But anyway, so I wanted to say about the writing down of your talking points, because that is another place that I'm struggling with. And you know what I just did? I plugged that into the Chat GPT, the power of one. So I asked Chat GPT, please explain the power of one, because Tim is always telling us to just think of one point that you're trying to make. And ChatGPT gave me a few things. It says clarity of focus, memorability, impact and persuasion, emotional connection, confidence, and conviction. And I stayed on this emotional connection. That's the one that I'd like to highlight. Emotional connection. And ChatGPT says a single well-chosen theme allows you to engage emotionally with your audience. Check out my 4Ps, people. They're working today. You can crack, I crack myself sometimes. You can craft stories and examples around that one idea, creating a deeper connection. Because isn't that why we do these, to connect and to create those connections? So I just wanted to say that power of now is a powerful thing. And then of course, when you said the expert monologues, oh my gosh, yes, that rubs me, because when I'm in a space and I hear someone comes up and they repeat what they start teaching, what the host just told us. And I'm like, okay, we did hear, we heard the host the first time, so you don't have to repeat them, and hear yourself say the same thing. Yeah, so that does rub me the wrong way. And it reminded me of prayer, in prayer groups where somebody would pray about something, and then everyone feels that they have to pray about the same thing. It's like, God is not hard of hearing. He can hear us. He heard us the first time. He actually heard us twice the first time. Okay, I'm done speaking.
Yes, Mama B. And what you said is just a great reminder for everyone to think about your experience when you hear someone do something a certain way, how it makes you feel. And I try to be very mindful of that so that I don't create the same experience for someone else that a person calls me to feel. And I know I may speak a little more, than what we talk about as far as conciseness, but we don't put the teacher in the class on the clock. So there are certain things that the teacher is doing or that the host may be doing that may require a little more time. But when that isn't our role, we want to really be mindful of how we interject ourselves in those environments and in those situations. And a lot of times, Mama B, when the expert monologue comes in, it's usually someone that came in late a lot of times, and they just don't know what has happened. And that's why it's important that we take time to listen, to understand what has happened, to understand the flow of the conversation, so we don't put ourselves in that position where people are thinking, oh, okay, yeah, I already heard that. And they zone out and they don't even listen to what you have to say. And in many cases, those are the people that will speak and step as well. Those typically are the ones that will speak and step. And we don't want to develop that reputation about us in spaces or in any environment. So let's go now to Josh. What do you have for us, Josh?
Well, thank you for allowing me to have the microphone again. Um, and that was a very comprehensive list, because I was teasing before when I first came in. This is not my first time speaking. I am a space host myself, and that was a very comprehensive list of the do's and do nots. And I wanted to focus on the emojis, the use of emojis. So I've been sitting here this entire time, and when Tim is speaking or Mama B is speaking or others are speaking, I use the emojis. because I like to let whoever is speaking know my nonverbals. So we're not here face to face sitting in a group. We're just sitting out here hanging out. And so when I'm speaking, and if I'm, watching the screen and I'm getting emojis that usually, if I'm getting the thumbs up or the claps, whatever, that means Josh is usually on topic and people are engaged. The private emojis, yeah, that's a fun one. I miss them all the time because I might be cooking dinner and I might not see Mama B send me some hearts. So yeah, Josh should not be offended, or Mama B shouldn't be offended if I didn't see it. But the raising of hands. So I am in this thing of courtesy wise, I always raise my hand, even in a space where they call it, what's it called? A popcorn space, where it's just free communication and everybody just, jumps in whenever they want to. I still raise my hand, and then I get scolded for raising my hand because it's a popcorn space. And I'm like, well, I want to get in the habit of always using my hand. But I do a lot of mental health spaces, and there might be people with anxiety, and they might put their hand up and then take it down, put their hand back up and take it down. So it's okay. And sometimes the host will just check in on them. And, we have glitches all the time here on X, and then I'll land my plane here with people on PCs that are listening on PCs. Sometimes they can't raise a hand, and you might have to send a private message to the host saying, hey, my hand is up. Yeah, I'll land right there.
Go ahead, and you can go ahead and finish that thought. Close it out.
Right on. You might not be able to see the hands, and then glitches. I couldn't see any of the hands in here, so I had to exit, come back, and just jump back in, request the mic again, and whatnot, because X is very glitchy in spaces, but it's fabulous. So using the emojis to let people know where they're at and what they're doing, especially for the host and speakers.
Absolutely. Thank you, Josh, for that. And raising the hands was one that I forgot to put on there because I'm a hand raiser myself. And even though the popcorn spaces say it's okay, for me personally, it feels too chaotic when everyone is jumping over one another like goldfish at feeding time. I don't do well with that. So I have to raise my hand because I don't want to try to speak and then someone else is speaking and it's who goes first. I just raise my hand. And honestly, when it's a popcorn space like that, I tend to not even stay because I don't want to get caught up in the chaos because you're always going to have these strong, overbearing personalities in environments like that, and they tend to dominate. And it doesn't work for me. So I'd rather have some structure where we're able to, let me say this the right way. Well, I'd rather be in an environment where there's some structure and things because we can all sing together, but we can't all speak together. And that's just my mindset. So I'm a hand raiser as well, Josh. Let's go over to Salafa. How are you, Salafa? Good to see you, my friend.
How are you, Tim?
Doing well.
I'm doing great. Nice to see you. Hi, Mama B. And cool. Then cool. Okay. Nice to see you. Okay, I'll be concise this time. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. I'll speak about certain point as the host of the space. I can speak about you, Tim Brown. That I am very lucky that I was one from your first members at your community of confident speaking. And I felt that I changed a lot. You all the time have a certain goal is to support people and encourage them in all fields and at all levels. You instill confidence inside them. I know that it's not easy to have this consistency, and all the time you don't judge people, you not bully them, and all the community, especially non-native speakers, are welcomed all the time at your space. I can say that the host is the main the main reason that attract people to join his space, even if after a lot of time of absence, even if the title or the topic is difficult, but all the time you encourage people to speak and to feel comfortable in speaking or in making mistakes. I really and truly thank you. You made a great favor for me. I improved or I get improved or I improved my English language and my speaking skill a lot. Thanks, Tim. All the time you give us your time and your effort without any return. You don't expect anything from people. God bless you. And thanks.
Shukran, Salafa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I appreciate you. And yes, you absolutely were one of the people that have been coming to the space from the very beginning. And your tenacity and the willingness to show up and continue doing the work over time, even when you didn't feel like it, when you didn't feel well, you still showed up. You still continued to be willing to do the work. And you would go into other spaces where it may not have been as inviting and still put yourself in uncomfortable positions so that you could get comfortable being uncomfortable. And it's truly inspiring. And you inspire a lot of people when you do that. And Salafa was one of the first people that co-hosted as well. You know, one of the people that I would bring up to co-host to give them that different experience. And she jumped on it. I mean, it was a couple times that she was sick, wasn't feeling well, but she still showed up and did it anyway and just fought through how she may not have been feeling all that great physically. And when I think about people like Salafa and those that are, especially when someone doesn't speak the language natively or English, I say don't speak English natively, just the extra effort that they put into growing and learning and improving, it's amazing to me. And I often say this is why I knew I had to learn another language because I was beginning to feel like a slacker. It's like I only speak one language and I'm the minority. And when I'm in a space with 40, 50, or 60 people, I know there's probably 40 of them that speak multiple languages. So I've got to do better because I want to connect more deeply with people. And I like hanging out in the spaces with Salaf and their friends and people that speak Arabic as well, because it's a different feel at times and to be welcomed. And it gives me the ability to understand what it feels like for someone that may not feel like they fit in the way that I would with my friends, to understand the impact that we have, why it's so important that we are kind, courteous, and considerate to other people, and to give them opportunities to grow and to know that they have support. So, as you said, Salafa, anyone that's been here, especially non-native English speakers, they know that this is a place that you can come and explore, experiment, practice. And if you make a mistake, we're going to help you figure it out so that you don't do it in the future. And we're going to support you every step of the way. And I will be a broken record when it comes to that, because that's why I'm here. That's the commitment that I make. That's what God has made me to do and who he's made me to be, is to be there to help support other people. And I will throw this caveat in there. It's to be there and support the ones that want to grow, because I don't have a lot of patience and tolerance for people that want you to spoon feed them all the time. I need to know that you're trying. And I've learned that I can't spend more time trying to help you be better or help you get something than you spend yourself. You've got to want it more than I do. And I had to learn that over the years. So if you're trying to grow, you're trying to get better, you can count on me to be there to help you along the way. But you better be trying, because if not, you're going to see me kind of casually and gracefully kind of fade away because there's too much work to do, too many people that want it for any of us to spend our time trying to convince someone to be great. Because all of you are great and all of you have the ability and the potential to do so much more than you are already doing. And I need you to first believe that you can. And then I secondly need you to begin to do the work. to get there, because it's on the way. It's there. You just have to believe it, and you just have to do it. Just as Shari showed, she's helping facilitate training and guidance for single mothers across all of Ontario. She's doing the work, everyone. So thank you, Salafa, for that. So let's go now over to, well, before we go to Stu, I want to see if Billo, no pressure, but do you have any thoughts you want to share? Anything come to mind before we go over to Stu?
Yes. Okay. The first thing that I would like to say here is that I'm here purposely to learn, of which I think my learning is a bit going very well. Knowing that I'm not a native English speaker, but I'm really doing well for now. That's what I can say. So if the first thing on the rules that you talked of, the first one was the one that resonated with me a lot, is to understand the audience before you do anything else. I remember the first time I joined this group, I got the like of Mama B, a woman with a lot of energy. She talks very well. I even met Ingrid, and then the previous cohort. So that one I get to realize that in this space there is no that being judgmental. Everybody is free to do what they want to do, like what Solafa has talked about. She's an Arabic speaking person, but she's trying a lot to learn English. So that one, it's something good. It means someone like me can do it well. I can also be able to speak good English. I can also be able to co-host like what Tim is doing. Tim is very composed. He knows what he's doing, and I like that. And I really want, one day I believe I'm going to get there. So that is what I can say for now. But it is very important that you have to understand the audience before you say anything, because I believe people, we have a very huge community of people all over the world, and we have different experiences, we have different needs and expectations to get out of this. So that's what I can say for now. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Billo. And I think someone needs a hug at this point back there. But and that's one of those moments where I know life happens and you can't plan around things like that. We have families and things will happen. So everyone just be mindful and be gracious in those moments. But what I will say to you, Billo, is that you are there, sir. You yourself are very composed, very well spoken, and it's very easy to follow everything that you say and connect. I feel you speaking from your heart. And as I often say, that's the most important part of confident and effective communication or being a speaker is your ability to connect with people. It isn't about your eloquence. It isn't about you having all these clever words to use. It's how well do you connect? And it's just a matter of you continuing to buy into the fact that you have the tools, that you have what you need, and continuing to put yourself in those environments where you have the opportunities to shine, to practice, and continue improving. Because I often tell everyone that I'm practicing in these spaces myself. I still practice. I still work to refine my ability in the things that I say. And I can tell you all this now. I don't know if I ever explained to you, but one of the things I used to do in these spaces, and I probably figured it out and I became very intentional because I would listen to myself on the replay and I'm thinking, why do I keep saying so much? The word so. I found that I would just inject that at the beginning of statements I was going to make. And I was doing it enough that it was annoying me that I was saying the word so often. And I became very intentional about minimizing how much I use the word so. It's a part of what we do. It's a word that we use, but I didn't have to use it as much. And I'm glad to say that I have not eliminated, but I have gotten to a point where I feel like I manage pretty well my use of the word so. And I didn't want to tell you all before while I was trying to figure it out because I didn't want it to be a distraction. And I know that once you become knowledgeable of something, just like video production, because I do video editing and filming, I recognize when the commercial hasn't been white balanced. I recognize when the footage has a green tint on it. I recognize when the edits are choppy. And I didn't want you all to get caught up in me saying the word so all the time. So I said, you know what, let me figure this out, work through it, and then I'll tell you, because now that won't be a distraction. And if you go back and listen to previous spaces, you'll hear it. That way you can verify that I'm not making it up. It was a real thing. So it was something that I realized that I don't know if I would call it a struggle. It was just a matter of me not being aware. And that's why listening to the recordings of ourselves help us become aware of those areas of opportunity where we can improve. That's why I still do it. After 20 years of speaking and teaching and engaging or facilitating conversations and leading, I still practice to figure out how I can get better. And it works, everyone. We got to put in the work, no matter how long you've been doing it. So don't worry if you're new, it's coming. And Billo, you're there, so sir. Just keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. So let's go now over to Stu. We're going to go to Stu, and then let's see, I guess Joni may have had to leave. So we'll go to Stu, and then what I want to do, let's see. Let me do this. I got distracted by something that I saw. But we're going to go to Stu and then Sum Tuchukwu. And after that, if there are no other hands that want to speak, we're going to do some challenges. We're going to get into the challenges. So Stu, how are you today, sir? I hope you're feeling well.
Doing great. Yeah, Steph, appreciate this coming to your space and everything you have in the space. I'll say the first thing, as far as people that coming up on stages, is like or retweet the space. That's showing your direct support for the host that's hosting the room, and then you letting people know like where you speaking at. So that adds already to the conversation. So I noticed being a space host myself is like people come on stages, but then they won't like a retweet. So just proper like Twitter space etiquette. And then I would just say also just have like some synergy like to the room. When I first jump in rooms, I check the synergy of it in terms of the flow of conversation. Can I actually like jump in this conversation? Is it relative and everything? If it's not, jump onto another space. There's plenty of spaces, but knowing like when to plug in, I think that's like another thing, like just being in spaces, like in the context of like when you plug in, because you jump in that synergy, the more that you be around the community or you be in that space, you'll over time, that synergy will be quicker and quicker, and it's just like a natural flowing, ever growing conversation. Those are spaces I love to be in. And they also just give reference and context and making your points. Like for me, what motivated me to come up here is I heard Mama B speak earlier about connections and being able to connect with people. And, that's like the core for me to come up in here because, speaking on spaces will allow you to position yourself with people. These are top, in this space or industry or Web3. You connect with people in the top, 5 to 7% in the world. So like think about the access of opportunities and everything. So I know that's exactly what I'm looking for at all times. So like speaking will like position yourself with that. But that's all I want to say.
Absolutely. And thank you for that, Stu. And I want to say this to what Stu just did. And I'm wondering how many people noticed this, how cleanly, in my mind, it felt like a smooth edit, a smooth transition into what he wanted to share when Stu just spoke. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but he spoke, he greeted us, and then he jumped right into what he wanted to share. And it was just such a smooth transition. And I remember speaking to someone who was an Emmy-winning editor, Emmy-winning video editor. And I asked him the question one day, what makes an award-winning video editor? Because I couldn't understand, what it was that would make you get an Emmy. But he told me is that when people don't feel the edits, then you could be an award-winning editor. When people don't feel the edits, there's some shows, commercials, programs that you watch, and it just smoothly transitions from scene to scene, and you don't even realize it's just in another place suddenly. And it's like, wait a minute, I didn't even realize that happened. But when you watch some of the more amateur, non-award winning videos, you see the cuts and you feel it jump. It's like jolts. It just kind of jolts your mind because it goes from a scene where the person is smiling and then it just jumps to a scene where they aren't smiling, and you don't see the transition from the smile to the non-smile. But Stu, I just wanted to acknowledge that, sir, because I recognized it. And it's important that we let people know when we notice things about something they've done so that you know that what you're doing is working and that it's noticed. Because I felt that. I was like, man, that was smooth. Stu is already sharing his point, and I didn't even recognize the transition from greeting to making his point. So it works, everyone, and it doesn't cause anyone to not want to hear you, or it isn't disrespectful or anything. It's efficient to be able to approach it that way. So thank you, Stu, for that. So let's go now over to, well, I don't see any other hands. So since we don't have any other hands that are up right now, I'm going to go ahead and ask if anyone wants to do some challenges. So I just saw Ahmad. Ahmad, your hand went up. Did you have a thought about the topic, Ahmad, or did you want to do a challenge?
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, Mama B. Other calls, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmad. I'm a writer from northern part of Nigeria. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are. You are.
Yeah. This is a beautiful space, and of course, I'm here through Mama B, who we met on the space, on the NDLA space a few weeks ago, and this is my second time being here, and I must say, yeah, it's encouraging. It's very, very encouraging. So, at the beginning of your presentation, before we actually delved into the topic, you made mention of you spoke about liking the idea of being pushed a little bit, which is something that I easily connected with and find very, very interesting, because we all need that push most times. We need that push, and I was, of course, from the northern part of Nigeria where I come from, where we're dealing with a lot of insecurities. We're dealing with a lot of out of school children. We're dealing with a lot of issues of malnutrition, and so I being on Twitter, I decided, so okay, fine. I think it's important that I put a space out there where we come every week, converge every week to come discuss about issues that is ravaging us down here in northern part of Nigeria. And in this space, I must say it's encouraging. So I just want to put out a question. Oh yes, I need a clarification. I when hosting spaces, of course, I think today will be my third time hosting the space by 9 p.m. I talk too fast, so I'm trying to find a balance between not being too slow and not being fast. I'm trying to create a balance, and I'm trying to find other means to engage my participants and my listeners. Thank you very much, Mr. Tim, for this. Thank you very much. I'm grateful, everyone. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you, Ahmad, for sharing that. And I'm glad to hear that you're doing spaces and really considering your experiences and how other people are having similar experiences, and the fact that you're able to add value to help them understand that they aren't alone, and to provide an outlet for them to share some of the thoughts and feelings they may have that may not be available to them in any other way. And we'll be surprised how many people are more comfortable sharing their deepest dark secrets, their greatest hurts, pains, and fears in these spaces than they are with the family members that they see every day. So there's tremendous value and impact we get to have in these spaces that open doors for that literally save people's lives in these spaces. So I'm glad to hear you're doing that, Ahmad. But to answer your question about your pace when you're speaking, I want to ask you a really quick question first. Do you feel like you were speaking too fast just a moment ago? Because I want to get an idea of the pace you're describing. Were you speaking fast in your mind a moment ago?
No, I'm not.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. And I I asked that question because in certain environments it may be different. So I wanted to make sure that I was responding based on a better understanding of what your experience is or was. Now, what I will say is, if this is your third space that you're hosting coming up, what is probably happening is you being nervous. And when people are nervous and they don't feel as prepared as they think they should be, or as prepared as they may want to be, the nerves really kick in and we begin to speak faster and we begin to ramble a little bit because we're trying to compensate for that fear and anxiety that's going on in our minds. So, what I would encourage you to do is to just take a deep breath and pause. Close your eyes and just take a deep breath and pause, and then begin again. And it's okay if you have to stop and take that breath and just breathe. And again, don't allow the fear to deny you the ability of tapping into the knowledge and wisdom that you have, because that's what often happens. We get so focused on not making mistakes that we lose sight and we diminish our brain's ability to focus on the knowledge and wisdom that we have. And I've given this illustration before where it's like a brick wall in your brain. Just imagine standing in a room with a wall, and behind this wall, there's a bunch of treasure and gold. And you have a hammer. And with this hammer, what you begin to do is you begin to chip away at this brick wall. And behind that brick wall is the gold of all the wisdom and knowledge that you have. And this wall is essentially the fear and the anxiety that we put up that shields our mind from the wisdom and knowledge that you have. So the more times you speak in spaces, the more times you practice, every time you practice, it's you chipping away at that brick wall so that it no longer hides all the knowledge that you have. So instead of seeing the fear, you're now seeing the wisdom, or your brain is at least. And that makes it easier for you to relax and settle down. And just know that it's okay. No one is going to leave because you make a mistake. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Just keep going. And you've heard me even today, it's a couple times where I've said a couple things and I had to go back and correct myself, because as I do, for some reason, I find myself merging two words together because I could say one word or the other and I kind of create a word that doesn't exist. But I laugh at it. I have fun with it and I don't worry about it. And it allows other people to feel comfortable as well. So just know that you're going to be okay. Just take your time, breathe, and know that when you slow down, it allows other people to hear you and to follow you and to understand the thoughts you're trying to share. And that also gives you time to think when you have the pace like you did just a moment ago. Because I was trying to figure out, well, when were you speaking too fast? Because I didn't hear it. The way you expressed your thoughts a moment ago, I thought it was a perfect pace for you to present information. So you did a great job with that. So just think about how you were feeling then and don't allow the fear or anxiety to overwhelm you. Just know that you're going to be okay, and it will get better. It will improve. Just keep doing it. That's the main thing, is that you keep doing it. And one last thing, and this is for everyone that may feel like they speak fast. Our breath controls the strength of our voice. And if you take deep breaths, and if any of you ever watch the news, or if you ever hear someone that sings, you'll notice that at certain points you will hear them take this breath. And they fill their lungs and their diaphragm very quickly so that they have the ability and the capacity to project. And if you make sure that you're breathing, and it's as simple as this sounds, you have to make sure that you're breathing when you're speaking. because when we're nervous, there's a tendency to just keep speaking, and you run out of breath. And now your body is almost fighting to be able to get the words out before you run out of air, when all you have to do is pause and breathe. Just take a breath. And when you take that breath, you're able to project. And if you speak more loudly, you naturally have to slow down, because it's difficult to speak loudly and project volume and speak fast at the same time. It just doesn't work doing that. So project a little more and make sure you're breathing so that you have the air to be able to express what it is that you're saying. So just a few things that I think will be helpful for you, Ahmad. But I will say you're doing a great job, and I followed everything that you're saying or that you said. And I look forward to hearing how you're changing lives and inspiring people by creating an environment for them to know that they aren't alone, but to also be informed and equipped with tools that will help them live a better life. So thank you for your service to all the people that are coming to your space. So let's go. I saw Salafa and then Josh raise his hand. So Salafa, I saw your hand.
Okay, before asking about challenges, I want to say something to Ahmed. I don't know. Yes, he is here. Okay. The last period of time, I was away from spaces. Okay. And when you stay for a long time without communicating with people, and then you come again to speak in public, you feel that you are shy. So I ran away from any space, especially your space, Tim. So after that, I decided to regain my courage again. What I did is to read loudly. I fetched some English books and I tried to read loudly to hear my voice, to listen to my pronunciation, to record and listen again to my words. And sometimes I made that in front of the mirror, sometimes with my members, the members of my family, something like that. After that, today, I felt that I'm okay to share and to have this confidence again. Yeah. Thank you.
That's excellent advice, Salafa, and a great reminder, why us continuing to do the work and continuing to practice, how important it is, because when we stop practicing, we can lose our confidence. We feel like we don't have the same skills and abilities, which in fact, there are things that we will forget, and that can make us uncomfortable. So I appreciate you coming back, Salafa, and keep coming back. And it's okay that you take breaks from time to time. That may be necessary in our lives, depending on what we're experiencing. But you keep showing up and you keep coming back. And I know you know, and I'm just going to remind you, you don't have to ever worry about the mistakes in this space. If you may have forgotten and it may feel a little rusty for you, that's okay. So just come back, because we're all rusty. I'm rusty. I'm still rusty myself, and I'm a native speaker, so it's okay. So let's go to Josh and then Lawan.
Well, thank you for allowing me to have the mic one more time, because Tim, I DM'd you in the background, and I said I'm going to have to make my exit soon, and I just wanted to let you know, but I was able to stick around for a few more minutes. This is probably my biggest pet peeve in spaces, is not doing the polite exit. It's just something I'm stuck on, doing the polite exit. So I'm saying goodbye, good afternoon, good evening, bless your guys' weekends, and thank you for allowing me to come up here and share again. Um, there was something I was going to say. Oh, what was it? Yep. Josh just made his first mistake today of forgetting my final share. But I am going to go prepare for a space myself. And so we have to do what we need to do sometimes, just take off and whatnot. But I like doing the polite exit. So love you all. Mama B, I'm still snuggling in your lap. Tim, knuckle bumps. And Billo, you did a great job, my friend, and showing up for others, and the confidence everybody gathered confidence. Oh, that's what I was going to share. That's what I was going to share is that you guys all retweet this space, even after it's done. The recording is here. This has been an absolutely fabulous conversation. That list that Tim Brown wrote, yeah, retweet that out. So if you're a host, a co-host, or even just a listener, it was great information and a confidence builder how to appropriately navigate a space. All right, Tim, I am out. I'm going to go practice for my own space.
There you go. We appreciate you, Josh. Have a great space. So I'm guessing, I think Lawan, Anoma Dev, and Shari might want to do challenges. I'm not sure that Ingrid is going to do a challenge yet.
No.
Okay. So Lawan, we'll go to Lawan and we'll go ahead and go down the line. And for those that want to do challenges, I'll go ahead and we'll hear from the ones that just want to share a thought. So what we'll do now, because remember we're gonna close at 1:30, but I got Lawan, Madev, Shari, and Ingrid that have their hands up to speak. So Lawan, did you have a thought you wanted to share, or were you ready to do a challenge today?
Yes, hi Tim, hi
Hello.
Mama B, and everyone. Hi. Yeah, I said I never done challenge in your space, so I want to try this week, and so that's why I'm here now.
Absolutely, yeah. I remember you said it, so that's why I figured that's why you came up to do the challenge. So what we'll do is I'll get the other two speakers, and then we're going to come back and let you do the first challenge. So Madev, did you want to do a challenge, or did you have a thought you wanted to share?
I want to do a challenge.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. You're a little bit low. It sounds a little bit muffled, but I do hear you. But yes, I figured that's what you wanted to do. And this is one of the things, people, as we become more confident and effective communicators, you engage with people and we're listening and paying attention. As Mama B talked about earlier, and we talked about that connection, you almost know what people are thinking and what they're trying to do before they even say it. So I knew I really felt in my heart that's what Lawan and Madev were up here for, was for the challenges, just based on the timing of when she came up, when he came up, because it was after I mentioned challenges. And I know Lawan had already said she was ready to do one in the space. So being attentive to the people you spend your time around, it helps make things a little easier in those relationships and understanding one another. And that demonstrates a lot of, what's the word I want to use? It demonstrates intent in the relationship, and it allows people to know that they're being heard and that they matter when you are able to recognize those little details and nuances about them that they don't even have to verbalize. It goes a long way in the relationships we have, whether it's in the spaces, your marriage, with your children, on the job. Those details matter. And that's part of being a confident and effective communicator. So let's go now over to Shari.
Thank you, Tim. I just wanted to say something to Ahmed. I actually heard him speak in, I think, like 2 or 3 other spaces before, and I had to actually click on his little picture to find out if it was the same person, because the way he spoke today was completely different than in all the other spaces I heard him. Like he has developed so much confidence, and that's amazing to see, because he was oversharing before, and like wasn't concise, and he was very concise. And I just wanted to tell him, like, you're doing an amazing job, and just continue to do what you do. As long as you know what your purpose is, just continue to do it. Even if you're scared, the people are going to come. The people are going to come to support you. So don't give up on what you're doing, and just keep going. And yeah, you're doing great.
Absolutely. And thank you for that, Shari, for sharing that with them. And that's just another example when I say people watch, people see you, they observe, and you go in one space. Do not fool yourself into thinking that people don't remember you and that they don't recognize the things that you're doing or hear the things you're saying. So she just made a great observation of her experience with you in other spaces. So remember, this is just as real life as anything else you may do. And there are opportunities to shine, there are opportunities to connect, and there are also opportunities for you to destroy potential opportunities based on our behavior. So we only get one chance to make a first impression, but make sure we create the impression we want to be remembered for. People are watching, whether they want to or not, they see what you're doing, people. So be mindful of that. So thank you for sharing that with Ahmad, Shari. Mama B, I see your hand.
Yes, people are watching. And, Ahmad is a reminder for me that people are watching and they follow us to wherever we take them. So the rooms and the spaces that we go to uh, are leading people to those conversations, right? And so it is a good reminder to remember to really be discriminative or to be choosy, if those are the words to use even, of where we go, because people are watching. And I love when Tim uses people at the end. People are watching people, so that you know that that's a highlight. So anyway, I just want to land here that maybe it's for another space, just not a prescriptive thing, or maybe you can even answer it here, Tim, from the perspective of the host, what you're struggling with as a host. Maybe you can have another one of these beautiful things that you wrote here for all of us. I agree with Josh that this is a powerful list. And in specifically, what I'm thinking of is what your strategy is, or how you approve people as a host to come up to speak. And another thing is, as we talk about people who go on and on and on, what tips can you give as to how to interrupt those people? That rambling, I don't even know what to call it, that. I hope it's not offensive to call it that. But yeah, so those are maybe thoughts that I had that maybe could be addressed another time, if not today. I'm done. Thank you.
Yes, we can absolutely address those. And I haven't compiled as comprehensive a list for the host just yet. I have something that I've shared, but I'm going to add a little more to it, because as we learn, we recognize new opportunities, new ways to improve. So absolutely we can do that. And rambling is the word, because a lot of people are rambling once they get lost and confused, especially if they didn't take time to write down their points and understand in their mind clearly what point they were trying to make. So it's absolutely rambling for a lot of people. But we'll do that, Mama B, for sure. We'll do another one. And maybe even next week, since we're already in that thought process and we won't have to, what do you call it? There's a word when you have to shift, frame shifting. It isn't frame shifting, but when someone is working and they're shifting, transitioning from one thought process or mindset to another. But we'll stay in the same vein. So see, everyone, it happens to all of us. It just happens in different ways. And once you establish a certain level of reputation, credibility, or comfort with people, they don't care about that stuff. They still love you anyway. And they want to help you. And in their minds, they're trying to think, well, what word is that? What is that? Let me try to help figure it out so they can tell us. So give people an opportunity to help you. And that's what we're here for. So we'll do that for sure, Mama B. Ahmad, did you want to respond to Shari? Or is your hand up from before?
No, I just wanted to ask anyone to just kindly share his or her pre-hosting routine. I mean, I just heard one of the speakers saying he wants to go and practice for his space. So I wanted to, if there's anyone that can share his own method of practicing before hosting a space. Thank you.
Okay. So what Ahmad is asking, if someone has a pre-space routine, he wants to know if you're willing to share that. And I will. There will be things about that I'll touch on this Saturday, next week as well. And I know you have a space that's coming up today or before Saturday, but I'll include that when we have a discussion next week as well when it comes to hosting, because that's part of my process is before the space. And that's why my spaces start before 11. Even though the start time is 11, I open it ahead of time because there may be technical glitches that happen. And if you wait until the start time, you don't have time to correct it before everyone begins showing up. So that's one thing you can definitely keep in mind is to begin early, and that puts you in the environment so you have an opportunity to just breathe a little bit, to relax and focus on what it is you're doing because you're already in the middle of it. The game has already begun if you start early. So that's one thing just right away that could be helpful for you. Mama B, and then Shari, and then we're going to get to Ingrid after that. Because I think you all want to follow up to what I was just saying.
Yes, Ahmad. Just one thing that I'm learning, even after doing these spaces for a couple of years, more than a couple of years now, from Clubhouse, is getting clarity, being clear on what it is that you're trying to create. And that would be your North Star as to the content that you're creating, as to the format of your space. Somebody talked about popcorn style. So whether you allow people to just pop in and talk, up on the stage, or you're going to have them raise their hand. So those are things to keep in mind. So I have found that if I am clear with my objective, and I'm still working on this, people, if I'm clear, I need to be clear of my objective and know that as the host of the space, that's what goes, not to compare myself with other people. I can never do what Tim does, right? Believe me, I tried in my head. I was like, I need to be like Tim. But I'm realizing that I'm not Tim. I'm just Mama B sitting around the fire with Mama B's, just chit-chatting. Not chit-chatting, but talking, And so just be clear about who you are and your objective as to what it is that you're trying to create. And know that whatever that is you, is your space, your rules, your way. I'm done.
Absolutely. Well said, Mama B. So, Shari.
Yeah, Tim, thank you. I also, I was going to say something similar to Mama B, but another thing that I do is I do bullet point notes. That helps me to get to the point, to do exactly what I came to the room to do. It doesn't scare me. I kind of don't stare away from it unless like someone brings up a point and then we start talking about that. But also remember, this is you. It's unique to you. It's what you want to do. It's what you want to birth to the world. It's no one else around, right? So you have to know, what do I want to do? This is the objective. This is what I'm going to bring, and be happy with that. And as long as you're happy with it, that's what matters from the very beginning. And then people will come, people will listen, and people will join in the conversation. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. Thanks, Tim.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I see Ingrid got bumped down, and I see that. Let me do Abdel. Are you in a place where you're able to speak today? Because I know Abdel. I committed that Abdel could do the challenge last week, and he wasn't in a safe place, even though he still showed up. Abdel, can you give me a thumbs up or a heart or 100 if you are in a place that you can actually speak? Because I think you want to do the challenge. Abdel may not be able to hear me. Okay. So what we'll do then is we'll go ahead to Ingrid. Ingrid, how are you today? What are your thoughts you want to share with us? Great to see you.
Well, hi, Tim. Hi, Mama B. And hi, Billo. Doing a good job. Welcome to hosting. I mean, it's always great to get that opportunity from Tim. I was fortunate to have my time in that slot as well. I wanted to say, Tim, today's topic was very, very resourceful, I should say. How to basically navigate a space. It's not just a space, it could be in other platforms as well and utilize them as well. I haven't dived into it, but it's something that I would like to do. But one thing I like about your space, Tim, and that I like most about your space is the fact that it's a respectful space. It's a safe space. You let anyone that comes up to speak basically stay on topic, say what you have to say it's like you read the room and you know what to say. You get all the feelings, whether it's a feeling of joy with Sherry's story of how she has moved on. And I remembered, I mean, time has flied though, being in this space. I also always have to thank Bella for introducing me to this space. She listens most of the time because she does a search and rescue team with her dog, and that's volunteer work. So she's doing some great things out there as well. But I just wanted to say that that's what I gain in the space. And it's teaching me not just to eventually do a space, but it's teaching me also how I communicate at home, how I communicate with my 30-year-old, how I communicate with someone that I'm interested in, how I communicate with my friends. And a lot of times there's so much misunderstanding that you tend to laugh because you will, especially when you write it out, you'll say, but I thought you said this. And then you go back and you read it. No, she did not say this. So why did I answer this? So it's teaching us to remain focused, take a deep breath, feel comfortable and confident, and give it your best. And I like that about you. And the more I come, the more I feel better, the more I'm learning every day. I am 66. On the 29th, I'll be 67. And it's like it's never a moment that I'm not learning something, and I'm not learning something new about myself. I went camping for 4 days, at 66 years old. So, and I mean camping, the outdoors all the way down to 45 degrees at night. So I did it, and it's a wonderful thing. And it does give the confidence is from the top of your head to the tip of my toes. And I just wanted to say thank you for those opportunities that you have given me and others here, because I'm sure so many of us here feel the same way. And I love the journey that we're on, and it's a wonderful ride. And I will continue to invite folks to come to this space, because this space on Saturdays is a feel good Saturday. Happy Saturday, you guys, and enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you. The weekend and the week. Sorry about that.
No, you're totally fine. And thank you, Ingrid. Congratulations on the hiking trip too. I mean, I thought about it, but I don't know.
No, it was
May,
camping.
it,
Camping.
yes,
It was
not glamping, actually camping, because I know some
yes,
people go
camping.
glamping.
That doesn't count. That doesn't
Ex-
count.
exactly. I'm sure it's fun, but you went camping where you were laying out there with the spiders and snakes and not knowing if the bears were coming. So kudos. I'm sure that was a great time. And maybe one day I'll get out there and, well, I guess I camped when I was in the military. So I've camped before. I've slept in the tent on the cot in the rain. So I've been there.
Yeah, you've been there. You've been there. Now I can say that. I can say that.
Absolutely. Well, we're always glad to have you, Ingrid, and thank you for all you do as well. We appreciate you and the encouragement that you bring. And remember, everyone, sometimes it doesn't have to be profound statements you make. I really appreciate those that come up just to express appreciation and support for others, because that matters. That's part of what makes this space do what it does. That's part of what makes this space what it is the support we get from one another. And I tell you, it isn't about me. I don't try to make this space about me. I may be the host, but I don't try to make it about me. I don't come in that I'm the expert in anything, that I'm the only voice you need to hear, and that I have every answer that you need. I want you to believe in yourself, understand that you have the skills to do everything that I'm doing and do it your way in your time. As Mama B said, don't try to be Tim. Just be Billo, be Lawrence, be Loan, be Stu, be Nancy, be yourself. And people will appreciate you for who you are because they already do. And now we're just trying to get to a place where everyone in here begins to recognize and embrace all the beauty and value that you have to share with this world, to get away from this mindset that what am I going to do or that I can't, because you can, and you will. You will. And I'm going to keep poking, keep prodding, just like Brenda. Brenda's going to be doing a space here soon. I'm not putting a time frame on it, but it's coming, Brenda. And there are several others that are going to be doing spaces. Lawan is recently doing her space. Shari, Mama B doing a space. Ingrid says hers is on the way and it's coming. And as long as you just begin to believe that you can, then you will, because it begins with you. No matter how much information I give you or anyone else, if you don't buy into the idea that you can, you never will. And that's what I'm hoping begins to happen in these spaces as we all continue to become more confident and effective communicators in any environment and in every aspect of our lives, because you can. So I want to go now. I'm going to go ahead and do the challenges and get those. And I see your hand, Azi, and great to see you. Good to see you in here. I see Nancy up here. I see Lawrence in as a speaker as well. Great to see you, Lawrence. Lawrence is a wealth of information, everyone, in case you don't know. For those of you that are transitioning into the field of tech, Lawrence is one of those voices that really provides a lot of value to help you understand some of the whys and things that you need to be considering as you decide to go down that path. So I would encourage you to check out Lawrence if you are on that journey and on that path. And just a great guy. Josh is in the space. Josh Hellman, he does the Innovators Think Tank on Saturdays as well. His space happens after this one at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And in the Innovators Think Tank, they get together and they are spending the currency of collaboration, getting to know one another, sharing ideas, helping people figure out how to move forward in their businesses and to begin to thrive. And it's a great follow-up to what we do in this space. You become confident and effective communicators, and then you take those communication skills to become better innovators in your life and in your businesses. Mama B does intuitive parenting on Sunday afternoon, and it's a great place to just figure out how to build deeper connections with your children and other parents, sharing experiences and ideas to build better relationships, because it matters. And I'm seeing this big trend where children are getting to a place where they're no longer buying into the idea that they have to accept bad behavior from parents. You know, there's some cultural aspects to it. There's some mindsets that have been established for whatever reason, that if someone is family, they get to treat you as badly as they want, and you're supposed to love them and accept it simply because they're family. And that just isn't true. But Mama B talks about some of those things in her intuitive parenting space at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. And then Shari does the breathing room on Thursdays at 12 afternoon. The breathing room where you get to just breathe and share some thoughts and ideas and hear different experiences, because everybody needs to take a breath from time to time to be able to relax and unwind. So check out Shari. And Lawan on Sunday mornings, I think it's 9 a.m. Eastern time. And in case you don't know, for her, that's pretty late for her. But it's the Beautiful Souls space where she has some very insightful topics where they discuss different types of things that will really make you think about life in general, how you show up in the world, and how you can be a better version of yourself and do it in a productive and caring way. So Beautiful Souls space that Lawan hosts on Sunday mornings. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and go now to Loan. so she can do her challenge. So we're going to get Lawan to do her challenge, but Dev gets to do his challenge, and then we'll try to get a couple more thoughts before we close. So Lawan, do you want to do a random question or a random topic challenge?
Random topic for this time.
Random topic? All right. I love
Yes.
it. I love it. I'm a fan of the random topics as well because questions can steer you in a certain direction. But just so everyone knows what the random topic challenge is, I'll give her a random topic. It could be about anything. And she'll have 60 seconds to give a response about that particular topic. And the goal is to practice her 4 Ps, to develop her conciseness, to learn to think on her feet, and to also get comfortable being uncomfortable because you become very nervous when you know people are listening to you for 60 seconds explain something that you don't know what you're about to explain yet. So this is part of the intentional behavior that we put forward in this space so that we can in fact become more confident and effective communicators. So Lawan, and the time begins when you do. But your random topic is going to be, I'm going to do this again, purple rain. Purple rain.
The rain normally is for everyone can be just the rain. It's just the tear from the sky. But sometimes for me, it can be a purple rain when I put my emotion in there. And because it reminds me some memories, maybe good, maybe bad. But rain is always give me a memory and things, maybe sometimes also a deep think about my future, about maybe my present, about everyone around me. But then, yeah, sometimes we don't like rain because it's annoying, but it's needed. It's needed for the weather. It's needed for our body, but also for memory and for my thought. Thank you.
I mean, before we even get to the to the feedback, I almost jumped out my seat though, Lawan. I have to say this right away. When you said that the rain becomes purple when you add your emotion to it, I was like, "Ooh, we mic drop moment." That was a fire. That was awesome, Lawan. So I'm gonna go ahead and begin with you though, since even though I already began. How do you feel about the response? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I was very nervous. I feel like before my exam, a lot of butterfly. But then, yeah, I just go with my flow because thank for the topic because I think this is also in what I am kind of my identity, my what I try to post in my content about everything. So that helps as well. And then yeah, it's just because now today is a big storm in Vietnam now in the north. So that yeah, I don't know why you put the purple rain. So it's quite much with the weather now here. And so yeah, I just try to give as many thoughts as I can. Yeah, it's quite interesting how to just 60 seconds and try to give some things more insightful or more useful for everyone. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you. So we're gonna go to Mama B. I saw your hand up for feedback, and if one or two other people want to give feedback, then you can. We won't do everyone since it's close to time. But go ahead, Mama B.
Yes, it was a mic drop moment for me too, Leon, when you said about, it becomes, the rain becomes purple when you put the emotions in it, because when Tim gave that challenge, I was sitting here thinking, well, good thing it's not me, because I mean, there's no way. I don't know what I'll do with something like that. And you paused. That was just so beautiful that you paused, right? Because it brought the whole, like, it gave me anticipation. I anticipated, like, okay, what is she gonna say? And then when you talked about the purple rain and how the emotions, and again, I went into ChatGPT because I never knew what that purple rain is, that this guy's Prince is saying about purple rain, anyway. So this is for the first time I'm actually finding context of what that purple rain is. And it does say it symbolizes emotions like love, sorrow, and redemption. And so Luann, you taught me something today about something that I probably should have known long ago, but purple rain, now I know. Thank you. I'm done. That was beautiful, by the way, Luann.
Thank you, Mama B.
Absolutely. Anyone else want to give feedback? We'll take one other person. Ingrid, did you come up to give feedback to Luan? You're muted if you're speaking, Ingrid.
I did, and what happened was I missed everything that Mama B had to say. But I did want to say to Luan, that was wonderful. You did a great job, and I know learning to speak English and thinking about your thoughts, it comes in your language first, and to try to translate it sometimes is also a challenge. But you did a wonderful job, and I know that from my Spanish to English and how that was challenging as well. So yes, you deserve flowers for your challenge.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Yes, thank you, Ingrid. So I will say, Luan, as I have already said, I kind of began my feedback right away because it was just that good to me. And I couldn't tell you were nervous at all. I love that you took a moment to pause because I told you that the timer begins when you begin. So you gave yourself an opportunity to ponder and process what it was you may decide to share. And that's brilliant. And we don't have to feel rushed when we're in environments, whether it's a meeting, an interview, wherever you may be. Give yourself a moment to think, pause for a second. Even if you need to tell them, let me think about that for just a moment. They'll give you time because they're looking for something from you. So give yourself that moment. So great job pausing like that. Your pace was excellent. And as Mama B said, the pause in the beginning, it created anticipation because in our minds, we're wondering, where is she going with this? What will this become? What will she do with Purple Rain? And it was beautiful what you did with it, adding the emotions to the tears, make it purple. And then you also came back in the end where you shared that it's necessary. It's necessary for life. It's necessary for everything, and that we should embrace it. Even though some people get frustrated with rain, we need rain and it's important in our life. So it was a great job. Your pitch, pace, the power and pause were all great. The timing was there. So you managed the time well. So you didn't use the entire 60 seconds. And I also love that you didn't allow the chime to rattle you. You didn't get nervous, or at least it wasn't obvious that you got nervous when you heard the chime because you knew it was coming. So you didn't allow that to be a distraction to steer you away from the thoughts that you had. So great job on that as well. So it's just great job, Luan. I'm proud of that. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Tim, very much. Yeah, but frankly, I'm very nervous.
No, that's okay. That's part of it though. And now it isn't even just the butterflies of nervousness. That's adrenaline that your body is feeling now. Your body's still amped up and excited about the moment. So embrace it. But what happens, everyone, is the more you do things like this, whatever the environment is, as you get comfortable being uncomfortable and you put yourself in those challenging positions, you learn how to manage the emotions. Because I say again and again and again, no matter how long we've been speaking, we don't know when the butterflies are going to happen. Because I've experienced butterflies twice this year at work with a team of 8 people where I wanted to share something. It happens. and we never know when, but I know how to manage that when it does happen. And that's what these exercises give you the opportunity to do, is to not only improve your speaking, but it helps you understand how to manage these emotions that we cannot eliminate from our lives. We have to manage them. So, Madev, are you ready, sir?
Yes, I'm ready.
He's ready. So, do you want a random topic or do you want a question?
Are those the only two challenges I'm allowed to do? Because I wanted to do script reading.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, let me find the script that you are going to. And in case anyone, which one are you going to read?
I looked through and I'm going to read The Entrepreneurial Dream.
Okay. Well, we are ready then. So everyone, there's scripts on the website. For those of you that want to practice outside of the space, you can just go there and look at one of the scripts. There's even random topic videos on the site if you want to do those as well, just to continue pushing yourself. And make sure, at least for the first time, if you do one of the random topic videos, don't play the video until you're ready to do the topic. So, because I don't want you to see the word before it's time. But if you're replaying it and doing it again, that's okay. But at least the first time, try to wait. But Madev, go ahead. Let's have it, sir.
Okay. The Entrepreneurial Dream. Are you a budding entrepreneur with a dream to change the world? It's time to turn your passion into a business reality. Start by identifying a problem you're passionate about solving. Develop a business plan, secure funding, and build a strong team. Remember, every successful business started with an idea and determination. Your journey begins now. Make your entrepreneurial dream a reality. Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Awesome, sir. So, how did you feel about it?
For a minute, I was nervous, yeah. And then as I just kept on reading, I felt like calm and comfortable along the way. So yeah, that's what I felt.
Okay. So, anyone want to give feedback for Madev? Go ahead, Mama B.
Yes, Madev, that was great. That challenge, or the reading that you made. The only thing that I would say, because I can relate to it, because English is not my mother tongue, is I have to more so, and I speak fast because I get anxious, right? I speak fast, and I have to always tell myself to slow down, just like what I just did now, because, and I find that even more so because I have an accent, a different accent, and Tim is always encouraging us to not even focus on our accent, because there's nothing wrong with an accent. However, to make people hear me, I need to be aware that my accent is a layer for me to think of. And so to slow down so people's brains can wrap around what I'm saying. And I didn't know this until I got into this space with Tim, because he's always saying when you slow down and when you pause, it allows people to catch up with what we are saying. So that is the only thing that I could offer, because I am you and you are me when it comes to English. So that's it. Thank you. I'm done. Tim?
All right. Any response, Madev? Anything you want to say to Mama B?
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. Thank you.
So I see Billo, you have some feedback for Madev?
Yes. For Madev, I can say thank you. You have really done very well. In fact, I liked your reading skills. The way you read was very good and on point. Especially the way you were putting the change of tonation, changing from the words, like you were adding you were adding a lot of emphasis on some words, and that one shows a very good flow and meaning. So I really like that. And then the calmness in your voice, it was on point. You were very calm. You read with a lot of authority, pausing where there is supposed to be paused. So I really like that. So that is what I just wanted to say. So yeah.
Madev, anything?
I feel good after that feedback. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm grateful for your feedback.
Yes, and I agree. I would say for me, the pace, I was fine with the pace myself. And I will tell you this, and for everyone to keep in mind, when you think about reading something like that, you have the ability to create the story you want people to hear. And as Billo mentioned, the change of intonations and the words that Madev chose to emphasize, when, where, and how you choose to emphasize certain words will change the meaning of what it is that you're saying. So it's very important that when we're reading something, the punctuation matters. It matters because if you run through a stop sign, which is a period in writing, that means you're going to create a traffic jam or an accident, and people will miss the point of what's being said. The commas are there for you to pause so that you process that particular phrase or thought that's going on. And I like that I can tell, Madev, that you got more comfortable as you got farther along. Once you got toward the middle or the final quarter, final 25% or so is when you really began to settle in. And I know that because one, I've heard you read before, but I could hear it in your voice, the way you framed your words. It began to settle down and it got more comfortable for you. And that's okay. But at the end of the day, it was still a great reading and you did what you did, in terms of putting in the work, getting the rep. Because who are we to say? We can't say that it was read the wrong way because, again, you get to tell your story the way that you want to tell it. And this is just a quick point for everyone that may be in a room, a meeting, or wherever you are, and someone asks you a question. Never try to give them the answer you think they want to hear. Give them what you have to offer. Never try to give the answer you think people want to hear. Give them what you have to offer. Because if you find yourself trying to give them what you think they want to hear, you're going to get confused, especially if there's multiple people, because everyone wants something different. And many times we don't even know what we want sometimes. We ask for something and someone asks us a follow-up question and we have to stop and say, oh, wait a minute, I didn't think about that. So give what you have to offer. That way you're able to be comfortable and you're able to flow and you're able to be more confident in your response. Even if it's to simply say, well, I've heard that concept before, but I honestly don't really have a lot of expertise about that. But what I can do is do some additional research and I'll get back to you once I have more to share. But for right now, I won't be able to give you a really good answer at this point. And that's a great response if you don't have the answer in that moment. So give what you have, not what you think they want. It makes a difference. So thank you, Madel, for doing that. So what we'll do now is I know I saw Tomatum's hand go up earlier. And one of the things that we do, we always tell people that we don't call on people unless they raise their hand because they may just simply be coming up to take that first step. So I know I saw Tomatum's hand earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and call on you, Tomatum, and see what thought you want to share. And then if no one else was going to share anything, then we'll go ahead and go to Billo and Mama B. Well, then Lawrence, then Billo and Mama B for final thoughts. Go ahead, Tomatum. How are you today?
Hello, Tim. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing okay. Moby and Ingrid and Soleifa, I miss you so much. All the speakers and listeners, I hope you're okay. Well, yeah, when I took the mic, I was like ready to say my intake towards the title, but then he said you're gonna start the challenge, so that's why I I removed the hand because I didn't want to disrupt the organization or the order of your space, of course. That's it.
Well, I thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And that shows a lot of that's courtesy and consideration to do that. And when we are looking at time and trying to manage time, because everyone, you may not realize it, but for some hosts, it's difficult to tell you can't speak because we want to give everyone an opportunity. But at the same time, we do have to be mindful of time. And it's about discipline, and it's maintaining a sense of order and structure in what we're doing. And that allows things to flow a lot more smoothly when we do that. And I can tell you this, if you host a space or a meeting or whatever you're doing, when you can establish a time that you begin on time and ending on time, when you add the type of value people are looking for, there are people when they appreciate it enough that they will rearrange their schedule when they know that they can count on the timing of what you're doing. If we say 11 to 1:30 and people know it's going to be 1:30, or at least right there close to it, they're more willing to say, I'm going to set apart some time to be here because I know that I can plan around this. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and thank you for doing that, Tomatum. So let's go over to Lauren. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just want to say thank you. Like, you're welcome. I did nothing. I think this is the right thing to do. That's it.
And I want to say that was not nothing. That really was a demonstration of consideration. And people tend to do what they see others do. So that was absolutely something. And I want you to know that was something. So Lawrence, we go to Lawrence and then Nancy, and then we'll go to Below. How are you, Lawrence? Great to see you, sir.
Doing well. Happy Saturday, Tim Brown, and hello to everyone here. I wanted to offer two quick thank yous, Tim, and then I'll drop the mic. First, thank you. Obviously, thanks for the very positive words and share about me earlier. I didn't ask for that, wasn't looking for that at all, so I definitely appreciate your sincerity there. The second thing is I want to thank you for your consistency in holding a space that is not about people talking, but is about helping people communicate. It is literally the skill that I think supersedes most all other skills, above and beyond our political aspirations, spiritual choices, our tech careers or non-tech careers, or any career or no career at all. The ability to communicate effectively has to be core to what it means to be human. I think so many times about great messages that were just lost to the sands of time, so to speak, because they weren't communicated well. And that's a little sad. But the happy thing is seeing how many great empowering messages land exactly where they're supposed to because they've been communicated in an excellent way. So, to the part that you are doing this consistent space to help people in their communication efforts, looking at their speech, their cadence, their tone, considering their audience, being able to think on their feet, all of these are helping us to be better humans. And I appreciate you for taking a forefront in that role. Thanks for letting me come up and speak.
Absolutely. And thank you, Lawrence, for doing that. And I think everyone agrees. I see everyone saying they put in the notes, bring Lawrence back. We want to ask him some questions. So, Lawrence, we will definitely work to do that, everyone, to get Lawrence back so he can share some perspectives. And as you all heard, very, very concise, very precise in what he had to share. So, again, we want to be mindful of the types of people that we're following. And as I said earlier, Lawrence is one of those that you can go to and listen to and get some valuable insight on things that you may be considering. So thanks again, Lawrence. Nancy, how are you? And welcome to the space, the community, and the platform itself. How are you?
Oh, hello everyone.
Hello.
Okay. I'm happy to be here, and then I wanted to say thank you to Tim for this space. It's really practical, but I ain't gonna be long because I wanted to participate in the challenge, but actually, uh, I I just realized that my hand wasn't raised all this time I was waiting, but my hand wasn't raised, so it's gonna be for the next time. And I just wanted to say hi and thank you for letting me participate this time. And then thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Absolutely. And again, thank you, Nancy, for coming up and participating and joining us and sharing that. And we're glad to have you. And what I will do is, if you come back next week, I will make sure you get to do the challenge. So you'll get to be the first person to do the challenge. So come back and join us next week, and we look forward to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because I know Sum Tuchukwu, I'm going to try this one moment and see if I can get Sum Tuchukwu up here, because he's been trying to speak for the longest. He got connected, got disconnected, and I want to at least give you a moment, Sum Tuchukwu, to share a thought before we go, because I know you've been working hard to get up here, and you did a couple weeks ago as well. So Sum Tuchukwu, how are you?
Hi, team. Good evening, everyone. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So, I've been having some network glitches. That was what caught me off for some time. So, I'm just happy to say that I've missed the space for quite some time. Been dealing with some crises, but it's good to be here. I just want to say thank you to you, team, for doing an amazing job. Uh, this place is part of my safe space. I mean, I get to draw some encouragement and motivation whenever I come on space and whenever I listen to some of the space recordings for some of the spaces I missed, you know. So I just want to say thank you very much for everything you are doing. You are touching my life for good. I appreciate you for that. Thank you.
Mm, thank you. I appreciate you telling me that as much as you appreciate being able to feel it and share it. So, and I'm glad that you're on this journey and that you're continuing on the journey. And for you and everyone in this space, there's so much greatness ahead of you as we continue becoming more confident and effective communicators. To Lawrence's point, there are very few things that you can point to or skills to have that will be more valuable in your lifetime, no matter what your career field is. Because confident and effective communication transcends any career that you could ever have. Because your career doesn't go home with you, but you still need to be a confident and effective communicator at home as well. So everyone just stick with us, hang with us, and I can assure you that your life is going to transform. It will. That's prescriptive. If you keep coming to this space, your life is going to change. It's going to transform. And I say that with absolute confidence because I know how it's worked in my life. And I know how it's working in the lives of those like Shari and Mama B and others that continue to share the stories and experiences that they're having. So stick with us. And even if it feels like you've gotten enough for yourself, this is where it really begins to transform for you, is when you now position yourself so that you can be there to help others get where you are. Because at some point, we have to stop trying to get for ourselves and begin to start giving to others, to begin to serve, so that now we can make a contribution into other people's lives. You come and you get what you get, and your life changes. But now let's turn around and give to other people, because there's always going to be new people coming into this space. So those of you that have grown, I encourage and I ask that you continue to support and help us be there to support the new people that are still trying to figure it out. And your life will continue to grow, and you will continue to thrive like you never imagined. And that's prescriptive. I can promise you that. So let's go now over to Billo. Billo, yes, sir. You have any final thoughts you want to share with us?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I will take us back to the last year. So when I joined the space, I was very terrible with my pace, how I talk. I could talk a lot with heart. My heart could race a lot. I will have a lot of thought going on in my mind that I want to just pour out at the same time, but it wasn't that possible. So what I did, I asked Tim, what can I do about that? And Tim shared something very precise and profound that you should be intentional. You should also be able to take notes when you are doing when you want to talk about something. And let me tell you guys, I was very happy to hear that. And when I put that into practice, a lot of things changed. My pace came back. I was able to be concise, be able to be intentional when I'm speaking. And then I realized if you take notes, if you take notes of what you want to talk about, it will create that allowance in your mind. You will have time for you to know which one is important and which is not important. So for me to close today and to co-host for the first time, I can say that I will recommend, let me use the word recommend, of which we are not supposed to recommend here, but I will recommend. It is something that is automatic, that you should be taking notes when you want to talk, and when there is something of such the learning that is happening, and everything will change, starting with the pace, starting with the pitch that you are going to use, and the power. So, and then at the end of the day, you'll be very concise in doing so. So that is what I wanted to share with. And lastly, for those who joined lately, my name is Bilo Kwol. So you can pronounce it as Bilo, or you can call me Kwol. So thank you for listening. And Tim, I really appreciate you bringing me up here. Mama B, thank you. It's been a very good time with you. Madev, I really appreciate, man, that you are here. The last time you were co-hosting, and that is good that you are here. Shari, I really appreciate all that. Some two, and or some two, kindly feel free anytime. And I think that is what I can share for now. Yeah.
Okay. Tim, can I say something quickly, please?
Go ahead, Sum
Okay,
Tuchukwu.
okay, okay. Bello, my name is pronounced Somtochukwu, right? Yeah, it's pronounced Somtochukwu. It's an Igbo name. Igbo is a tribe in Nigeria. And I want to quickly say something. Tim, I'm really touched by the very fact that you considered me, you gave me an opportunity to come up and speak. You know, without knowing the fact that I was having some network challenges. I mean, that touched me. That really touched me. It calls for a deep reflection on, me trying to embrace the fact of being considerate to people. So I'm really touched by that very act of yours. Thank you very much for the lessons of that. Thank you.
You're very welcomed, and thank you for the add-on to share that additional perspective and understanding for everyone. And that's why I want us to really be mindful of what we're doing, understanding that the simplest of thoughts you may share can be impactful. The simple things that you do can be life-changing for someone else, because we don't know what's going on in people's lives and how a simple hello could change that person's life because they've been walking around feeling unseen. So we never know. So thank you for allowing us to know that and sharing that part of your life and the experience that you're having, and how just simply bringing you up to speak and giving you an opportunity to share your thoughts was impactful for you. It doesn't have to be anything earth shattering or profound, everyone. It doesn't. It's the simple things that really can make an impact in someone's life. So thank you, Sum Tuchukwu. Mama B, you have any final thoughts you want to share?
Yes, just quickly, I have to say, some to Chuku, you tried so hard to get up here for a long time, and I was sure that you're going to in my mind anyway, not sure, but in my mind, I thought, I didn't think that you were coming here to be so generous and altruistic and not be about yourself. So you moved me today that you would try so hard just to come up here and give Tim flowers instead of what I suspected that, oh my goodness, if somebody's going to try this hard, they probably, have something to say that is not going to be as altruistic. Not that there was anything wrong with it, but I just did not expect that you worked so hard to come up here and be so generous and of spirit and heart. So I just wanted to say that was powerful. And as Tim said, that it is just the simplest of things that are just so moving and they connect with us so deeply. And you did that today. And Billo, my goodness, it was a joy to co-host with you, my friend. And I look forward to sharing more spaces with you and to making more connections. And also, Tim, you do sound a little chafed or chuffed or whatever. Parched is the word after talking for so long. So people, we appreciate Tim and we praise Tim. Let's move to another level of supporting Tim so Tim could have the energy and the sugar in him to come up here and share with us and teach us so much that we could have spent a lot of money if we had to get or a coach. Yeah, the lawyer. What is it? What's the
I guess
word?
you could say retain, possibly.
Retain. That's the word. Yes, Tim. You know me. Retain a coach. And so yes. So let's go to his buy me a coffee. There's a link in his bio. Buy me a coffee and buy him a coffee there. I know it says buy cookies or something. I think he wants cookies, so we'll buy him cookies. But anyway, to land, I just want to say, please, people, let's share these spaces. We share so much in these social media spaces. We share so much content and videos, funny ones, and some of them are not even helpful. Some leave us mad or angry or anxious. They're just not helpful. But these spaces like this, they are worth us sharing. So we need to be mindful about who we follow in these spaces, like we talked about earlier, but also what we share. So let's share and deposit some good in other people that we know so that this word could spread and we could be better communicators and this community could shine a light because we are lighting a candle in these streets. So I just wanted to say that about, because it is like a podcast, right? We share podcasts, we listen to podcasts, but these spaces are podcasts. So let's share it with our friends and family. I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mama B. And I guess as you mentioned the cookie, I do like a little sugar myself. Pecan pie is really my thing. And I know I need to stop. It isn't that bad, though. I've gotten so much better because at one point I used to eat the pecan pie and the ice cream together. But I found a place now that the pies are so good. It feels, what's the word? It almost feels, I'm at a loss for words. It feels illegal to put ice cream on top of that piece of pecan pie from this place. It's just amazing. And who knows, I may share it in there because they do mail orders in case some of you want to try it one day. But yes, Billo.
Well, sorry, Tim, I'm sorry to interrupt, but didn't we,
yes,
somebody sent you a pecan pie
yes,
on behalf of the community? That was powerful. Go ahead, tell us.
Yes, that was. And several months ago, there was someone, and Brock orchestrated that. And he ordered one of those online and had them ship it. They delivered it right to the house. And it came on behalf of the entire community. And I absolutely appreciated every bite of it from start to finish. And I may still have the pictures. So I may post a picture if I can find it, just to share with those of you that may not have been here and you may decide you want to try it. And I'll tell you this, right now it's seasonal and they have this Dutch apple pie that they're selling now for this particular season. It's pretty amazing too. But enough about the sweets. I'm not going to encourage anyone to do something that they don't need to be doing right now or don't want to be doing. That's just me. That's my struggle. But I want to say, Billo, thank you again, sir. you did a phenomenal job. And again, I say to you that you are where you need to be. And it's just a matter of you finding the comfort in yourself. So continue listening to what you do when you speak. Go back and listen to the replay and listen to what you shared. It's amazing. And it's just a matter of time before you find the confidence and begin to walk through those doors where you will begin sharing more and doing more. And there are spaces that you will be hosting yourself as well. And I know it and I look forward to it. And Mama B, as always, thank you, so much for all the support that you provide and the encouragement and just everything you do. All I can say is just thank you. And you know how much I mean it. So I really appreciate you, everyone else, Shari, Madev, all the speakers that came up today. And I want to express my appreciation for all of you that came up that were listening here. So Brenda, great to see you. Great to have you, Brenda. Blim, my brother Blim, good to see you, sir. Rookie, Danash, Kahinde, AI, we got Christy, Amir, Kisak, Lakisa, we got Kevin, we got Fibonacci Man, Adam, Dr. Atif, D Bright, Tuminho, The Untamed Pack, Kim, Tumani, we got Austin, Good Babe, Chanel, Namafala. We have Tekken Stream, Eric. We have let me hold on. I'm going to try my Arabic here. So this is Salnada. So I'm guessing Salnada. And if I got that, and Salnada. Yes, Salnada. And if I mispronounced it, I would love for you to let me know one day so I can pronounce it correctly. So I'm reading a little Arabic, everyone. So I'm growing in English and Arabic. Then we've got Free the Offended. We have Notambi. We have Mustafa, Slim Becky, Ibube. We have Reha Mothman, Julie, Dancham, Michael, Valame as well in the space. So thank you all for listening in and just being here. And Brock is in the space. So I see you, Brock. And I want to thank everyone again for your participation. And I take that moment to read everyone's name because I get to tell the speakers directly and personally thank you for their time and their presence. But for the listeners, I don't. So I take the time at the end of the space to go down the list and let you know that I see you, that you're seen, and that you're appreciated. And you're always welcome to come up and be a part of what we're doing and share your thoughts and perspectives, because I want you all to get to a place where you embrace the fact that you are greatness, that you are great, and that you have something special to offer this world, even more than you already have. And it's just a matter of continuing to do the work as we all keep growing together. So with that, I want to just say thank you, everyone. And I'm glad that you are here. I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Confident Speaking Space. Your contributions as a speaker and your presence listening live or on the replay are greatly appreciated. If you enjoyed the experience and want to show some love, feel free to visit the link on my profile and buy me a coffee. Until we meet again, I pray you have a fantastic week ahead. So be blessed, be safe, and be intentional about becoming a more confident and effective communicator. Let's get it.
We gonna roll, roll, roll.